They, as you mentioned, seem very safe. So let's see how ONIC play this out against this hyper-aggressive lineup that Aurora drafted.
ONIC knows they're trying to survive. They're not trying to lose early, because if they go late game, they can get these fans at the Lenovo Legion Gauntlet even hyper than they are to kick off this first game. It's time to begin our second and last series of the day. It's ONIC versus Aurora Gaming. And to call the action, we've got Naisu and Gideon. Fellas?
Thank you so much, Rain Day. Welcome, everybody. The series that everybody has been anticipating for. It's Aurora facing off against ONIC in a best of 5. Everybody's had their opinions of ONIC, but everybody has seen Aurora as a legitimate threat to the throne. But who is going to come up on top here?
Man, you know, today and the past couple days have been a whole lot of sweep action that we've seen, and hopefully this one goes the distance here, because you know, moving forward, semifinals next, you want to go ahead and see them bring it the distance, and the drafts will have the distance for Aurora. I mean, the Louis Yi pick has only been brought up, what, one time? This is now the second time Louis comes through. Again, leave it up to Coach Midnight to make these drafts interesting, right? And sometimes that can work for you, sometimes it works against you, but we have seen some amazing setups with that diversion play.
Yep, some really great stuff across the board, and I want to see how creative they actually went through. We saw, you know, Coach Midnight already talking very expressively to the rest of his players about what exactly may or may not happen, or certain mechanics. We're not 100% sure here, but really that diversion could be the difference maker. They're playing a double fighter comp, which is already pretty scary when you don't have like a dedicated scaler, so we know that Aurora are the ones on a timer in comparison to ONIC. We're seeing Wilderness Blessings, we're even seeing a Brave Smite coming out of Rosa, which is atypical for low Yis nowadays, because dear lord, like LaFell mentioned, once Lutfi is on top of him, it's going to be difficult for Rosa to get away.
I would say if you look at this for Aurora Gaming, one of the great things about the composition that can go against that setup from Luffy or anything else is they have a ton of options to just set things up, you know, between pick-off potential here. Looks like Tianzi's going to do a little bit of damage to Keyboy, but just keeps him at bay. And whether that's the kick, you know, from Pagu with that Way of the Dragon, or, you know, Lunar jumping in. I mean, how many times now have we seen the Barretts be placed into that XP lane? The amount of ground coverage Barretts has, especially with a flicker in Daytona's welcome combo, is kind of insane.
It is. It's really good, but at the same time, right, there's still also the Valentina coming in from Sans. Now this fight could be a make it or break it here, as we can see that they don't have first position, but here comes the TP.
Well, Pagu just trying to buy some time for that diversion. This Aurora comes through. There's the Daytona's welcome. There's going to crash on the wall. Sans is gone, but Kyrie will be able to secure the objective. And now Lunar going to try to fight it off here, but gets taken down. So ONIC winning the trade.
Really nice trade so far. It's a little sad for Lunar, but somebody has to take the damage, right? Really nicely played by ONIC's side. This gives Kelra just a little bit of time to actually breathe for the moment. Let's do this replay one more time, right? Because Aurora understood one thing. We are going to fight for this neutral objective. Unfortunately, we don't have Pagu to actually open up the map any further. But at this point, trading out against them just isn't worth the time. We already got that one kill onto Sans. At this point, we just need to make sure that we're minimizing the losses, because unfortunately for Lunar, despite Lutfi eventually going to outscale him, he manipulates the waves really, really well.
Yeah, so probably with this kind of setup, you know, Aurora, if they can't find plays like that with a diversion or the pickoffs that they're looking for, then what do they wait for? You know, Tianzi to get stacks like we've seen before on this, like possibly the Sky Piercer for that Hirara. Sigiboom has probably been one of the better performing Paquito gold laners that we've seen so far throughout MSC. Again, I can't forget how he played it against TLPH, and you know, that's one thing that can be said too, that they can utilize here throughout this game.
Yeah, and I think that that's going to be the main win condition, right? Especially since they're on a timer. They still have like about 6. Oh, hold on.
Well, that's a timer right there too. Kyrie's going to be able to get away. Taking out Pagu, man. It's just, again, all you have to do is play around that deadly magic once it's up.
Yep, and most importantly, wait, hold on. Gonna get a quick TP here just to open up the map and get a good idea of where TNZ might be looking to hide, knowing that the purple buff is going to spawn in about 12 seconds. This next neutral objective is going to be difficult to contest for. Luffy has so much of an advantage against Lunar because of the previous interaction by Turtle's side, so I think this should be a no contest overall, but that depends on what Aurora is going to do with this, because I'm seeing members making their way up towards this top side, and Kelra, he's only got the Purify, so once BMI is down, he's sort of a sitting duck.
They just want to go ahead and trade it out, right? Objective. for potential play across the map.
Oh, delivery service?
Yep. Diversion's going to be used right to that mid lane. Pagu this time, the difference here is he's actually got the kick available. Last time they fought for this, he was only level 3. Lunar's going to jump it. Daytona's welcome. Pagu trying to zone out Sans. Already using that Keyboy now. Half health gets kicked right to the team. Will deliver Keyboy up. And Lunar will secure the turtle. So Aurora fighting back, and now they're going to be crashing it down in the mid lane. Pushing them back further. Luffy has the shields and space to work with. Did pop the Purify and will survive.
Good use of the Purify there. I thought Pagu for sure was going to get in, clapped on the third hit of G Kundo. Manages to walk out of it to save his life. So not bad. It's 2 for 2. Not a real advantage overall. I think even when we're looking in the jungle sectors, right? Even Kyrie being able to steal away at least one of these turtles puts him slightly ahead of TNZ, while everybody else just doesn't seem to be on the back foot, right? Yeah. Lunar and Lutfi have evened out. Sigabum actually has a bit of a lead onto Keller because of that double waving, and we're waiting for it to accumulate to maximum, a critical mass, as they call it. Oh no, Kelra, does he know?
Diversion used, Kelra.
Dive angle.
Be fine. He does still have the Purify. It's not popped yet. Kyrie's going to re-enter here. They go in, Wrath of Dry to follow up. Pagu already goes for the kick. They burn the flicker from Sans, but Siggy Boom comes in with a 1-2. Able to pick up one, and they'll eat another. Taking out Keyboy. Aurora finds 2.
They're eating good today. They're eating very, very good. And Kelra ends up missing the wave this time around. Oh wait, actually, 1 minion manages to slip through, but Aurora, they're not done yet. They're looking for mid-tier 1.
Yep, and Kyrie had to back off of this. So then Luffy just left to his own devices. Will get taken out, dissected from the team.
Man, you can tell the difference between a good Barretts and a bad Barretts. How they flicker Detona's welcome, but the usage of the rocket jets to predict, hey, if you purify, if you flicker, this is the angle you're going to be in, and I can knock you right back into the fight, making these chases so much harder to leave. to leave.
That's right. Yep.
That's my king.
Coach Midnight, again, has been a key part of what Aurora Gaming has been able to accomplish so far through this time. Again, this draft, something a little bit different than what we've seen, but it's just this execution from Aurora Gaming that has been so well. Again, there wasn't a huge lead that they had until now. It's not that it's massive already, but it's 2.6K. That switched on very quickly off of 1 or 2 fights. And so now ONIC playing on the back foot, they've got to be able to readjust this. This third turtle's coming up here. We'll see if they actually want to go ahead and approach this or just wait. Already half health on this turtle. Again, Daytona's welcome. Pagu looking for that follow-up. Wrath of Triumph! There's so much damage in that central point. Siggy Boom won't be able to follow through the flicker, but there it is. TNZ will. A stack secured. And now he's going to be able to get away here so easily as they look for another. Oh my God. Oh, no, Kyrie gets kicked. I know you're a wizard, Harley, but you can't get away.
Oh my goodness, Aurora playing out of their minds. The red herrings, they make it look so easy right now, but they're just not missing a single beat. They're not too tunnel vision. They're still open-minded to the way that these fights need to actually progress. Let's look at the replay one more time, right? Because again, this was an incredible catch here, spitting him right into Keyboy's face, making sure, despite the fact that Sans tried to flicker on out of there, dashed twice to make it all happen. The chase, the rundown from Aurora squad, it's difficult to beat. Once that major impact is landed and Keyboy doesn't have that Wrath of the Dryads, it's so much harder for ONIC to peel them away.
The unfortunate thing is once the Wrath of the Dryad is dropped down, that's also just a clear signal for Rosa to be like, okay, you want to fight here? I'm just going to go ahead and get these yin-yang interactions procked off, you know, and pump out enough damage. Everyone's centered around that Wrath of the Dryad setup anyway from Keyboy. That the Lui pick is actually a great counter into that.
And that's the thing. It's about finding the anchors here. So far, Rosa has been generally untouched this entire game. And, you know, given the caliber of player, Rosa just doesn't seem to ever be out of position. And that's where Pagu comes in saying, I'm willing to die for the Thorn Queen every single time, if necessary, just to make sure that Rosa doesn't fall behind. On the opposite side, right, ONIC doesn't necessarily have a dedicated anchor. When you are pulling backwards, who do you fall back to if not Sans?
Yeah, that's why one of the things, again, if you look at what ONIC can do here as they fall further behind, man. 7,000 gold deficit for ONIC. You've got to play into the Claude, right? You've got to go ahead and let Kelra get to that point, but then even so, if you already have the Trinity, you walk into those team fights, it's going to be the same case which is just overloaded with that damage, that front damage that Aurora has to play around with. And this Lord is going to go freely over to Aurora Gaming.
Well, that's a really good point here. In just a little bit, Zipper, could you pull up the items? I mean, we need to know how far Kelra is from that Trinity as of right now. I think he should already be done with Golden Staff based on the total amount of gold the team has, but I'm not 100% sure. In the meantime, though, Sigaboom, this is probably the strongest he is going to be throughout the game. He legitimately can 1v1 Kyrie, Sans, and Kelra if they just walk into a bush, and I think that's the big fear for Aurora. Opening up the map, especially with Keyboy, he's died 3 times opening up the map and fighting for that space. It's just really hard to get back up for him.
We'll see how they play this out. Lord slowly walking up here to this mid lane. They still have the Holy Defense Shields to play around with, but ONIC, again, with this kind of lineup, can they still defend this? 10 minutes into the base, the Lord charges in that mid turret. They're going to have to deal with this wave pushing in as the bottom also turret. Shield pops. Mid turret down. Aurora stays disciplined for now. They'll let them clear out the Lord here and see if they can get more.
I like it. I like it a lot. ONIC says, you know what? Mid inhibitor, whatever. We can deal with it no matter what. As long as it's not the long lane and we have to play this awkward Lord fight every single time, especially dancing around that pit, it's just not worth the effort. And ONIC recognized that, right? It's the setup for the later half of the game to make sure that Kelra is in a good position, because so far, there's probably their only win conditions besides, you know, maybe punishing Pagu, maybe punishing Sigaboom. And even then, you kind of need Kyrie +1 to make that happen. Let's look at the items, because finally, we see 2 already completed for Kelra. Kyrie actually opting to go for a more bruiser build this time around. He does not want to die randomly to either Sigaboom or even to someone like Rosa.
Yeah, he's kind of has to, you know? We've seen it, how it happened in the first fights. I mean, that first hurdle, it was just him being patient. He went in with a retribution, but every single team fight after that, you just see how quickly he has to go back in time to survive, you know? And that brute force is going to help him a little bit. Few stacks here for TNZ. This is what we were mentioning earlier on. You know, you're going to pick up that Harari, you're going to be able to get those stacks. You're a threat in itself. And honestly, if ONIC puts too much to try to deal with TNZ, that's where, you know, again, they're not paying attention to the rest of the side attack here from Sigaboom or even the diversion from Rosa. There's almost too many things that ONIC has to be wary of in these team fights just because of the nature of composition that Aurora has.
Oh yeah, and I think that's going to be hard for especially Lutfi. As much as he wants to be in the faces, he needs to act as Peel. He needs to cut Lunar off from certain angles and force him to flicker. But as you can see, right, it's moments like this where Lutfi, he can't just stay in front of their face forever. He has to pull in and out consistently to maintain his health.
Okay. Again, at least some defensive items here being picked up now by ONIC, even an immortality for Keyboy, just to get him there a little bit longer. Kyrie will pick up Genius Wand. Sans has been holding on to the Lua Yi ult, right? That diversion. Maybe there's some trickery that they can go with to set them out for this fight for the Lord, or potentially take it.
I think the winning play is if Sans steals the Detna's Welcome and he is able to combo with the Falling Star Moon to guarantee somebody gets locked against the wall during a neutral objective. That's my best guess. Because so far, I feel like Aurora are hyper aware of specifically Keyboy. They're like, Kelra, okay, sure, we got flickers, we can get out of it. He only has Purify, so after the BMI, there's no follow-up after that. The next problem will be whether or not we're too low and Kyrie is able to kind of clean us up. Considering his build, we're not going to get one shot. It's over a duration of time. So really just boils down to how Lutfi, Sans, or even Keyboy finds an out-of-the-box play.
The out-of-the-box play is going to have to happen in the defense, man. Again, with their backs against the wall. This Lord should still be able to be dealt with, though, given the fact that you're 10 minutes in. You know, you've got pretty good clear with this. They can lock it down if they have to, if it's sacrificing that Wrath of the Dryad to go ahead and keep this thing forward away from that crystal. That could be a play for ONIC. But just like them, Pagu's got his own immortality. They've got their defensive items to work with too. They're going to go ahead and push it in. They want to take this top turret down first while ONIC deals with the Lord. They're going to go anyway. Daytona's welcome. Right on target. It's the tankiest member. It's going to get kicked away too. Keyboy dropping down the Wrath of the Dryad for the back line. TNZ is there zoning everyone away. It's a split fight happening here with already Keyboy buying so much time. Finally goes down. But now Aurora looking to cap out game of 1. ONIC on this defense. They got to clear out these waves. They're still charged up. TNZ will jump in. Able to take out Kelra. And that's going to be it for game 1. ONIC facing a tough loss against Aurora Gaming.
Beautifully played by TNZ. That's how you maintain your lead as Hirara. Just abuse the fact that a lot of her damage is directly tied not only to her items, but specifically from the level. So once you hit that level cap, it's only like 3 seconds before you get both of your combo abilities back up. That's why he's going in and out constantly, baiting those spells, baiting a reaction from ONIC. And that's something that they're going to have to remember for the upcoming game here. Great game number 1 coming in from Aurora, at least for ONIC. Now we see what the first set of cards are going to be. Let's see what the next combo is for game number 2. And I think a lot of it is trying to find that punish in the jungle.
Man, if they, again, when it goes to the draft, it's like there's always that one pick or that one curveball that you can almost expect from Aurora Gaming. And it's not that the Loi was that entire reason why they won. It was just, again, executing around the diversion that they had. Sigibum having a hell of a game in the Paquito gold lane. And just even Pagu, man, the amount of times that he was able to lock on the right target, get the kick, serve it up to his team, was hard to play against.
It's very, very difficult because imagine if you're Keyboy and you see Pagu doing moves like that. He shouldn't pose in front of your face.
Yeah.
Do you go for the punish, or is he going to flicker a third hit of G Kundo on your backliner? Keyboy can only do so much. And the problem is that TNZ can do the exact same thing. It's a logistics problem that they solve with Rosa on this Loi, but we're going to let our panel break it down for you as we throw it back over to Rain Day.
Somebody call Ip Man, because they need an answer to this Jeet Kundo in the gold lane. Paquito and Sigiboom continue to dominate. No kills in that game, under 10 minutes. And Aurora Gaming prove with game 1 that they certainly are what we think they are. The new final boss. It's just a matter of can ONIC respond. Welcome back to the desk. Rain Day here, Brig. LaFell.
I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, sure, we might see the telestrain later on, but here's the thing. Technically speaking, why Aurora has been winning, I feel like in that game has proved it, they're using 2 things, which is number 1, wave management as well as timing. Because you're going to see after 5 minutes, they completely abandon the lane because at that point, Aurora is playing a draft that is strong off of 1 item. Right? You're going up like a Claw, Hive that you need 3. They're like, no, we just need 1, and then we're going to end the game before you get a chance to build your items.
I gotta say, the fact that the Paquito was left open up until the second phase, the very last moments of the draft, and the fact that ONIC 2 have revealed what kind of carries they were planning to go for in the first phase, namely the Harley and both the Claude, especially the Claude. I feel like it has always been a case of Aurora taking advantage of these kinds of scenarios and then revealing that Sigibum was eventually going to get a hold of the Paquito. Because you saw how they were able to clearly shut down that gold lane. Even the rotations towards the gold lane were not as successful. It was only the Paquito that was necessary for them to already pull it off. And again, TNZ, everyone else, the rotations and farming patterns have been a bit too clear and a bit too free. ONIC, I think what we mentioned before heading into the game was true. They were a bit more safer in terms of their gameplay.
And I think this is where the mental part starts to happen, because we heard ONIC repeat to us, we said it about them, yeah, they get an early game start. When they do that, we could be in trouble. And then they get an early game start. So now what? I mean, you still got game to play, but you've already mentally spoken it out loud that if this happens, we're going to lose. So then that comeback seems a little harder to me, Brigitte, because they've already basically proclaimed that if they don't start well, it's over.
And they decided to reveal with which heroes are they planning to start the game with. They picked and prioritized the Belleric and the Valentina. We did consider that the Belleric might be flexed eventually later on, but I think they were just forced to settle with it in Rome. And the Belleric Valentina could only do so much if you're up against the Luyi, who I think even in the first few minutes of the game have shown us very unintentional yin-yang combos that really put ONIC in a very difficult position over the long run.
I think this could be one of the stars. We're not talking about him enough. Sigiboom has played phenomenally. I know Aurora Gaming are barely on screen because they're winning in 9 minutes almost every single game, but he has played phenomenally, guys. And I will say the Lu Yi, it's already come out once. They won with it once, make it twice now.
Yeah, honestly, I really don't get how Sigibum still gets the Paquito. I mean, despite his name, he's not a bum. He knows how to play that hero. Right?
Yeah.
You gotta back me up whenever I say
no comment.
I agree. I mentioned it. That was the first thing I talked about. How is he still able to get a hold of the Paquito?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, this is just, to me, I felt like ONIC were really worried about what they were getting, not what they were taking away. But LaFell, it's very hard to take away a situation where Aurora Gaming are coming into it almost knowing they're going to have one up on you. They're going to have a double fighter. They're going to have a character you haven't seen before that's not quite in the meta. I feel like that's why ONIC said, let's just get stuff that's good, and then hopefully we can win this and draw it out a little bit later. But what'd you see?
I mean, like, the problem is, I feel like even Team Liquid said the same thing, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
they were surprised that Aurora played that fast, and then they're like, we're trying to fight it by having late game. But TL did it, and it didn't work out. We see ONIC trying it, also didn't work out. So you got to fight fire with fire. You come to me. I'm not gonna stand up.
Okay, here.
Hold posture, man.
Here's the
Line
thing
test
that we got to talk about. What's important in the draft of Aurora is actually, yes, the Paquito, but also the Cho. Because here's the thing of what Aurora has been doing. They need at least 2 people, which is this, to open up the map. So that's step number 1. And then the interesting thing about Hirara for TNZ is that it's strong early game, but because TNZ builds the Sky Piercer, make it so that he has scaling, right? Coming to the late game, if he can delete you in one combo, you don't need a marksman because you can eliminate their marksman. Because really, I would say the weakness of the draft coming in from ONIC is surprisingly Claude, because again, he takes so long to actually do something in the game. And against Aurora, you need map presence. And we're going to see why. We're going to be looking at a clip here where the important thing isn't what's happening, but it's actually the time. It's 6 minutes into the game. Before this fight, we actually see Aurora, all 5 members rotating top, able to get a kill. And then look at the minion wave. They let the minions go inside the turret all alone. They're not destroying this turret. Why? For them to deny minions, right? So the longer the minions stay at that turret, the less gold that ONIC is gonna farm. And also, again, we see how all members of Aurora here, 5 members, 6 minutes into the game, try to get this mid lane. And here's the thing, they keep on doing that, just different lanes. We're gonna be seeing like some action here. They're just positioning themselves in a way whoever is in front, they can punish. And that's why the Cho is there to open up the map. And then the Luyi is there kinda as a backup. If you're trying to catch any of our map openers, then we can deal with you. And this is something that I feel like yesterday Vitality tried to do, right? By having this barrage, you have basically gap closers. And I think that's the best way to express what Aurora is doing, early game and gap closers. Because when they engage into the fight here, again, the timing, 7 minutes, 16 seconds. At this point, if you're well fed, you have 2 items. But with 2 items, they really can't do much against the draft of Aurora because the front line of the barrage is just too much, and then the damage coming in from TNZ and Sigibum is also too much. So I feel like if ONIC wants any hope of winning this one, they really just got to make sure that they step by step eliminate the heroes that has very strong early game. Why did I pick this clip again? I don't even remember.
That's because you threw your note card away and you still haven't grabbed it.
Don't need it. But yeah, honestly, that's the important thing, is that you have to realize Aurora, they're gonna spend the first 5 minutes just torturing you in lane. Afterwards, they're gonna get out of lane, and then they're gonna move as 5 and grab as much objective as they can. And by the time you try to fight back, guess what, buddy? You're not strong enough.
Yeah, I agree. You really can't play slow against this team. It's something that's proven time and time in every single series that they've played. And I can't help but go back to the point which he brought up earlier, because it's very similar to how TL ended up losing against them too. I agree. And it's also reflected in the picks. It's all reflected in the matchups. And I think that plays a crucial role, right? The fact that they really went for the Claude, revealed it earlier, and even the mid duo. So it's like you've already shown Aurora how the rotations are probably going to look like, the pacing you're probably going to play with, and who you're playing for.
Well, let's take a listen to what Pagu had to say earlier on, because we had a chance to catch up with him before this game. Cho looked good in game 1. We'll see what he thinks coming into game number 2.
We are now here with Pagu from Aurora Gaming. Pagu, welcome!
Hello.
What did you say to me before this interview? Watermelon? What's that about?
Just testing the comms, right? So the sounds right.
Where did you get watermelon from?
My coach always says it. I don't know.
Is it midnight?
Yeah, it's all midnight. Always midnight.
Always midnight. Midnight. But, you know, going into this match, I think a lot of people are talking about your jungler. Tianzi has been popping off. I think people are saying that he's #1 in the jungle position. But as a roamer, how do you support a jungler like that?
So, in this meta, because it's majority assassin jungle, right? So it's important that he's being protected and he can farm safely, right? So you have to provide him vision. You need to protect his Grim camps always. So and the blue buff majority of the games, right? So yeah, you just need to protect him at all costs, even if you're alive.
Okay, protect him at all costs. And what happens if you fail to do that? What does TNZ do?
If I fail to do that, the game gets harder, first of all. And second of all, we have to be more aggressive to regain the green camps from enemy side.
Does he get angry?
In some situations. I mean, if it's our mistake, but sometimes it's normal. Just keep up the good mindset, right? The game is not done.
So how do you, keep him calm and nice and so on and so forth? Is there something that's special that you do, or you just have to protect the green camps?
If there's a mistake, we try not to repeat it so it doesn't happen again. Yeah, just learn from mistakes, basically.
Learn from the mistakes. We really like that. We really, really do. Is there something that we don't know about Tianzi, maybe?
So yeah, as you said earlier, when there's no green camps, he might make sure that next time the green camps are there.
Okay, so still about the green camps. TNZ and his green camps. There's something about that relationship, but that's really good insight. Thank you so much. And we're also really curious about the rest of your team. Like, what's your team like? Because I feel like in interviews, you guys are very like stoic. So who's more emotion? Like, where's the emotion come from usually from your team? Is there a certain player that's a little bit more emotive?
When we're talking like about hype, I would say Lunar is like the most one. In games, when he gets the energy boost, right, if everything is working out in games.
So Lunar.
Lunar, when it comes to energy, right?
Hype, Lunar. Who's most calm?
Most calm for me, I think it's either Siggy or Rosa. But personally, I think Rosa, right? As a mid laner, just work for the team, right? Listen to the calls a bit.
I get the vibes. I get the vibes. What about most nervous before a match?
Most nervous? It can be me, honestly, sometimes.
Oh, really?
I mean, with the green camps, as I said earlier.
And you're more nervous because of your own teammate.
If you let your teammates play, then game is good, right? If they're having good match. That's a job of a roamer, right? Just play for your team.
That's true. That's true. You're a really good roamer. Is there anyone that's a little bit more like, does they tilt easy or they get upset fast? Are you gonna say me?
Green camps.
Green. Oh, okay. Okay. We got it. So coming into this next match, are you confident that you can win against ONIC again? Out of 0 to 10.
Out of 0 to 10, I would say 7. I mean, anything can happen. Maybe the draft will be like something crazy. Who knows? But so far, if we just play our normal game, I think we got this.
Okay. We'll take your word for it. But now, before we let you go, do you have a message to your teammates?
Yeah, guys, just keep up the good work. Let's play normal game, no tilting. I hope our green caps are safe and everything works out.
Okay. Thank you so much for this interview. It's been fun. And we're going to throw it over back to you guys.
I never knew green camps were that important. I mean, you can see Pagu sweating, thinking about he has nightmares when he doesn't get the green camps for TNZ. But at the end of the day, Aurora Gaming leave us with a sentiment that we all felt, which is if they play their game, they're going to be okay. LaFell, what do you think about that?
I think green camps is great. Now I know, don't take it away from
I knew you weren't listening to what I was saying.
This is why Mirko is mad at us. Sometimes we take his camps away.
Oh, you guys don't protect?
It's fun.
Yeah, exactly. Do you play the game to win or to have fun?
Yeah, to win, for sure.
In this context. To win, you know.
Well, at least we had fun. Doesn't cut it when you lose in the knockouts, guys. I don't think it does as well when you're representing the last reigning MSC champion on the side of ONIC, who's still in this tournament. SRG and Team Liquid PH have gone out earlier. It's just ONIC from 2023 who remain. If they lose here, we're going to have a new MSC champion. We're about to make some history if Aurora keep going, but that's a big if. And I want to bring it back to now, game 2. What do we want to see adjustment-wise, especially if you're being on the side of, devil's advocate for how ONIC can turn this around? Where do you think they got caught?
First of all, for me, you know the story of the rabbit and the
tortoise in the hare.
Tortoise in the hare?
Yeah.
That doesn't apply everywhere. Right here, you gotta go fast. You can't be like a turtle.
Yeah, slow and steady doesn't win the race always.
Turtle and a rabbit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, tortoise and
hare. Yeah, but hare is a different
hare is a way to say rabbit, and tortoise is a different way to say turtle.
Crocodile and alligator are different.
They are different, you're right. But
so are turtles and tortoises.
So you guys
Come
only
on, bro.
heard of the turtle and the rabbit story,
Hardly
huh?
bro, first match.
And the tortoise and the hare.
Opponent team la here ya.
The rabbit wins.
Someone
Just
be
kidding.
praise
It's a turtle.
It is still the turtle or the tortoise.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
still, it's just that you got to fight speed for speed. That's
Yeah.
like the
Plus
main
speed.
takeaway for this one.
Yeah.
Because if you lose by the first 5 minutes of the game, Aurora is just the kind of team that won't make a mistake that gives you that avenue to fight back.
Well, I think the problem when you get into a major tournament like this is there's a lot of people, a lot of chefs, a lot of cooks in the kitchen, and they all have an idea. You also have an identity as a team, which got you here. And if the identity that's working against you is not the identity that you know is your best way to play the game, it's difficult, Brig.
I actually agree with that because I feel like ONIC still just played with their identity. They played to their strengths, but it's something that's being exploited again and again by Aurora because again they have so many cards up their sleeve. They have so many ways to deal with what has been considered the meta and the strengths of ONIC for the longest time. We have a special mention here from someone.
Midnight.
Dinosaur.
Wow.
It's a dinosaur. Oh.
Speaking of dinosaurs, the Barat does seem to be quite a problem. It's just that, hey, I feel like the reason why Aurora keeps on winning, they keep on winning the side lanes, right? So stop that. Stop that. If you can't deal with the Paquito, hey, ban it out.
I agree. I think Paquito should be banned. It's not like it's prioritized by ONIC in a major way. And
True.
It's obviously not only a potential flex to gold lane, which we've seen that again, but it's just too powerful. And when you combine that with the Cho and the Barats, they have two literal solo ISO ults and moments to displace members on ONIC. And that's exactly what you don't want. You want to play steady, you want to play ONIC way. And so how do you do that? You eliminate the things that can disrupt you. And I feel like we should see not just a Selena ban, guys. I feel like Cho should be banned second phase if possible, and Paquito.
Or pick it up early because, again, Aurora, their draft always have good gap closers. So I feel like ONIC shouldn't be super, I would say, enthusiastic to have heroes that are long range. Because somehow, some way, Aurora will find a way to close the gap.
And ONIC should take advantage of this blue side because I think both of them really favor blue side, but they banned the Barretts instead. So
Atlas is up.
Okay, it's still gonna be Hirara for ONIC, but as you mentioned, the Atlas, even the Belleric, and the Paquito is still open.
What did they want from
again.
this? Are they trying to open up Paquito early? I mean,
Yeah. I feel like for Aurora, because they battled the Valentina, they should be picking up the Atlas here. Atlas +1. The +1 is going to be the big question. I feel like it's not a bad time to pick up a Paquito.
because he could. Oh, you're.
Oh, the Uranus.
Wait,
Uranus
And
Belleric.
Belleric. That's interesting.
Oh, but here's the thing. Uranus and Belleric are very high sustained
Kylie.
heroes. So in terms of marksman, I can see the carry doing quite well here.
yeah, but are they baiting ONIC just to pick up the carry? Because
I
if
think they
so, then they will no longer have a choice of a Paquito gold. And that's something that Aurora can eventually consider still over to their side. So ONIC have to be very particular about their choices here because the carry really looks good, but you also don't know what other range options would come out from Aurora. You don't know what Rosa's playing in mid just yet. So they will go for a Esmeralda. This is looking like a dead lane in the EXP, at least for the matchup. The gold lane is really what matters at this point.
We also saw the Atlas picked up, and it did not work. It was Vamos trying to do a lot with the Atlas, and they're actually going to go away from it. Zushin, and then the Rafa right back. We see you, buddy.
Okay, ONIC, this is a problem. They don't have enough bans to take out early game junglers. I feel like maybe they can take out Nolan, because I feel like Nolan with the Belleric and the Rafa, I think is just a bit too much. That was a very fast Rafa pick, and I feel like it's going to be good to deal with all three members of ONIC here. Just the slowdown by itself, speeding up the Uranus. He's going to stick onto them, and here's the thing. They won't have enough damage early game to potentially deal with the Uranus.
Yeah, because you're already seeing the juice in. That's that. But also it's just mostly the Juicin and Hirara, because if you're looking at them and the possibility of them scaling, then you might have to have another source for mid to late game damage, which I feel is something that's going to be very tough for ONIC because the rotations are looking a bit too fast for Aurora. You're already expecting for them to pick up an early to mid game jungler as well. At least the Paquito's not there, but either way, I think it works out for Aurora. They'll have late game heroes as options later on.
I feel like ONIC need to pick something up like a high loss, something that can slow down Aurora here because they're looking very fast with this Rafaela. Because Cho would have been the best option, but again, Cho gets banned out. Aurora has one more ban here. And I feel like ONIC should ban out something like the Nolan. But the problem is, we just don't know. Maybe there is a surprise pick coming in the jungle later on. They might still force a link for all we know.
But at the same time, if they go high loss, that's pretty much the same idea we saw in game number 1, where they're just going to play slow. They're going to be a lot more passive than we want them to be. And Aurora, they've been doing such a great job at baiting ONIC into drafting these kinds of patterns.
Yep. They've been fantastic with it. This has been a draft masterclass so far from Aurora yet again. You look at just those 3 heroes at the front on Aurora's side, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be an early game problem. And if you're looking at Pagu's pick here, but more importantly, the response that ONIC can have after the Hereth is shown, there's got to be a win condition on the side lanes. That's the issue that ONIC have faced. They have not been able to do their thing and get to late game. They have to figure that out here.
I feel they need a carry here. They just need a carry.
Okay, I'm also looking at what Kiboy could actually pick up, because I feel like AoE would really matter here if they want to slow things down. Maybe. Minotaur is a great option. I was thinking of that. And you also have Sustain. So if Aurora actually go in for the dives, then they might have ways to last a bit more longer in the team fights. And if it's sustained team fights you're looking at, yes, you have the Esmeralda, but what is going to be the carry?
I really feel like Minotaur carry is going to be a good enough pick. Or the Atlas is still open. It's just the gold lane here. I wonder if they want to go for a Brody. I don't think Brody is a good shot. Ranger is worse though, I think.
The only reason why I was iffy about the Atlas is because I feel like at this point in the draft, you're going to settle with pickoffs.
Rafa also counters the Atlas and Lucas!
Unique hero!
Lucas in the jungle! Or is this going to be like Lucas EXP and then Uranus jungle?
This is tough. This is tough.
I can see Uranus jungle as well. I think it is Uranus jungle. Oh wait, no, they change.
Wait.
All right, Lucas jungle then. All right, so
Uranus on the EXP.
I think ONIC, they might have overthink this because Atlas kind of gets countered by the Rafa with the speed up and slow down.
Yep.
The Granger, I think it's just because his Kelra's comfort. I don't think it's going to be good enough though. You can't really burst down Aurora.
And even if you do, there's a passive that Rafaela can utilize to just bring them back in action. So this is looking like a really good game for Aurora, honestly.
It feels like more of the same. The early game problem. Don't know if ONIC have found a solution, but this is the time to test their theories because they are only a few games away from getting knocked out. Aurora trying to go 2-0 up here over ONIC.
And the game begins. So far, the statement has been set by Aurora. Hey, we've already taken game number 1, and we're still going to be whipping out some new tech against ONIC. And look at this. Once again, we do see the Rafaela. This time paired up with 2 tanky boys, a particular Leonin who scales up very, very quickly and very, very deadly, and of course, the man himself, Lucas.
Well, I love this. Again, some unique heroes come through. Leave it up to Aurora Gaming and Coach Midnight to make this happen. I remember specifically, I think it was LaFell that was asking about the Lucas jungle even back in the wild cards to go through. Well, finally it comes out in the knockouts. You can see that battle in the XP lane that we're so used to seeing. Of course, Lunar is going to struggle a bit there with that Esmeralda, but again, the idea here, the theory behind this draft from Aurora is you've got so much speed to work with, so much sustainability, the potential to bring someone back. Mind you, it's flying clouds as well. So that's a whole nother thing too. Just how quick Aurora can get back into the fights that ONIC is going to have to kind of keep notion of, because again, when you're getting all these heals through and you're this tanky for Aurora, you can't overstay if you're ONIC, and that might be one of the biggest problems for them.
I mean, let's not forget, again, most people tend to kind of lean away from Lucas because he's so ability driven, and his ult, again, you can wait for the full duration, or you can get into these fights like right now and see whether you can start building enough charge to maximize it as soon as you get it. And that's the issue, right? It's going to be a matter of spacing for both sides. You can see that even Sans has opted not to go for Wilderness Blessing and instead pull yourself together to make sure that he can flicker out of the way in case things get really, really dangerous, which I would assume will, as we see Lunar, he is having a tough time in this lane.
Yeah. They got to put pressure somewhere, and right now that's going to be on the Uranus up there in the XP lane for Lunar. Turtles up though, so right now ONIC has favor to go ahead and get position if they can. Keyboy doesn't have level 4 yet. He's given the information where TNZ is though, so that gives Kyrie a chance to go ahead and secure his buff. and then we'll see if this breaks out into a fight. A response, though. They don't key boys here. Sigibum rotating up to allow this buff to be secured, but the fight for the turtle is already going to start up. It's less than half health. Secured up by Kyrie. Let's see if they disengage here. Pagu too low, so objective secure for ONIC.
Oh, that's a bit of a waste here. And honestly, it was a pretty huge win because now Kelra at least gets some gold shielding here just to get a little bit of a lead against Sigibum at this point of time. And not to mention that I think that ONIC also recognized that, hey, we got to be careful. We cannot underestimate this Lucas. There's a very good chance that he can just power through a lot of our abilities, even if they do have the fatal links here. Keep in mind, anti-CC is going to be a big mechanic here for Tien. Oh, this is dangerous. Wait a second. I don't know if they want to keep on doing this, but ONIC made a smart choice to back away.
Hey, you know what? Hey, you can still say, Pagu, that wasn't a green camp. You know, that was a pop that went over in the hands there of Kyrie, but still kind of trying to maintain this jungle. Skypiercer is picked up by Kelra. It's kind of what we were thinking with that Granger being picked up here. Again, it is a comfort pick, but also if you can start to build those stacks for Kelra, obviously that's really going to help. And he has to play at range against this kind of lineup here that Aurora Gaming has. So off to a pretty steady start for ONIC, building up already a nice little lead.
And they don't mind not interacting in these early stages of the game until everybody's got their ultimates and they find the right position to do so. And I think as long as Aurora recognized this, hey, we need to fight on our terms and only our terms, there's a lot of things in the early game that actually don't matter.
Here in the mid lane, this is going to matter. Keyboy fallen. First blood to the hands of Sigibum. What a rotate here through.
It's not over. It's not over.
Oh, Lunar. Lunar's going to get thrown around. TNC, though, they're on this side. He wants this purple buff if he can take it from Kyrie. This is a bit of a risk, but they're going to go for it anyway. Loopy on the soft side goes in with a falling Star Moon, able to find two. Pushes them back, but again, they just don't have that follow-up damage just yet. They'll bring back Lunar. Oh! Might try to split things up, just sacrificing himself to keep the rest of Aurora up as Loopy will take Lunar down.
Okay. At least he gives that kill over to Loopy instead of Kelra at this stage of the game. But for now, you can see that Aurora, they can kind of fight forever. And ONIC also recognized that. Now, at least first item's already done. Turtle goes into the hands of ONIC. This is going great for them, but it's an ever-moving pendulum. Now, Sigibum gets to catch up back on gold. Gold here. He's got a kill in hand, but now that he's got the extra plating as well, he should finally have a slight lead against Kelra.
Okay. Didn't have to pop the Purify, just dropped down the Zaman Force. But yeah, as you mentioned, he got a lot of the extra gold off that turret. That's kind of what Sigibum needed. But again, he did get that first kill too. He knows the Zaman Force is down. Kelra will go in! A quick kill. The killer instinct for him, knowing Zaman Force wasn't available, makes a move, and now bottom side still gonna break out. TNC, fatal links into it, can't escape, and Pagu gonna be next. Talk about value for your Skypiercer for Kelra.
Great knowledge from Kelra. He understood what the assignment was. Hey, no Zaman Force, you don't have a flicker, you can't run away from me, and I love it. If you want to just sit underneath their turret, I can harass you for days without anything left. I think at this point, Kelra is gonna be a much bigger problem to Aurora now that the game plan is starting to fall apart. Luckily for Sigibum, he doesn't lose too much here because they still have the passive from Rosa to get the revives down. But Kelra, now building up on these Skypiercer stacks, they need to cut it in half at some point in the game.
Yeah, you know when that setup happens and you don't have the Zaman Force available for Sigibum, ONIC will take advantage of that. So a really good decision there. Pagu obviously need to pick up a little more defensiveness, gets a Radiant Armor locked in now for him, but it's just, again, ONIC building up on this lead very early on. It's going to be great for them. Turret going down on top side. It looks like Sigibum should be able to get that one, but now Lunar could possibly be in trouble. The rest of the teams here, though, is tanking up, picks up a Dominance Ice, but this Turtle is up. Are we going to see 3 for 3 for ONIC in the Turtle department?
Probably. They're going to have to contest this, I suppose, but the lead isn't looking too good. And I think the real question is whether or not Kelra is going to be here for the fight. And it looks like he is. They've already taken the tier 1s on both sides, both, again, losing lanes for Aurora at this stage, considering everything that has happened. But if they can find the opening, and here comes Lunar.
Yep, gonna go for it. Lunar just blasted down, though. Has to pop the Consecration. TNC looking for his own opening. Wrath of Dryad locks down Keyboy. They get thrown out by the Lantern, and Loopy's gone. Kelra flickering defensively. They're going to fight it out. Kyrie able to get the Turtle. Taking out Pagu too. It's a trade. And now with the speed, they're able to get some distance here for Aurora Gaming. They're going to go ahead and respawn, revitalize Pagu back up. They lost the objective fight, but it looks like Aurora still willing to take these fights.
That was beautiful stuff. Like, Lunar got a lot out of ONIC. Sans even using his ult as well, making sure that they got basically everything down. Kelra trying his best, but Pagu switches the role with Lunar to get right in front of Kelra's face to make sure that nobody else needs to die here. If one person dies, that's totally fine. Two people, too much.
Ooh, Malefic Roar now picked up too. Again, a final, well, Fatal Links, instant kill. Eventually, you're not going to be able to just keep respawning Pagu now. Whoa. Again, Sans up here in the front of it all. Rosa trying to get away too. This is a messy fight in between two turrets as they back off. Meanwhile, up top, Siggy Boom. He's been dealing with a lot of pressure on this Harith. I mean, ONIC now is not letting up in the jungle. Yeah,
it's really tough for TNZ at this stage. Unfortunately for TNZ in this matchup against Kairi, on Hirara, I don't think it's very easy because unfortunately for TNZ, a lot of Lucas's moveset, it's one-dimensional. You don't have a way to kind of delay the timings of it. You don't have a way to kind of come from different angles. It's very straightforward. I run you down. I'm pushing you back either into my team or away from my team. But Hirara is so different, especially with the icons as well. Oh, this could be a punish.
Pagu could be in trouble again. Doesn't have a flicker available. The rest of the team has to help support him up. They're going to throw themselves into the fight. Lunar trying to get away. And now Pagu on the disengage too. Loopy up on the front side. They call it off though. They don't want to overcommit to this. So you see the purple buff is up. They're going to put some pressure here. Kairi goes in and TNZ doesn't have the purple.
Yep, but that means that Kairi doesn't have Retribution. So far, this could be a forced fight here. They know that Keyboard doesn't have the Fatal Link, so they have a very short window to try and punish. But so far, Lunar has not been able to open up the map convincingly because of the fact that he's been
Flicker forward, Wrath the Dryad, Lunar taking some shots, the Rapacy shots. Kelra gets a kill, Sky Piercer prop. TNZ followed by Kairi's hand, and looking up to load up Rosa. A double for Kelra. They ignore the Lord, they go for Pagu. Pagu, where's the tree to run here, man? Being chased down by Sans and Kelra. Couple shots of the Rhapsody and boom, another.
Man, Sans and Kelra are playing out of their minds right now. Sans, hyper aggressive, your really big punishes on TNZ, making sure, like, even though TNZ has anti-CC, doesn't necessarily mean he's safe, right? He still needs Rosa to bail with the extra movement speed to help close that distance, because that's Lucas's biggest problem, right? TNZ jumps into the middle of this fight, tries to make something happen by pushing Lutfi out of the way, but unfortunately the entire time Sans is just building up the butterfly stacks on top of him. Rosa can try and bail him out of there, but once you are committed to the quick step, it's just too much to handle. And I think they just need to take a breath here. Think about it for a moment. So far, their main win condition is going to be Sigabum. The early game is done for Aurora.
Yeah, this is tough too, because meanwhile, when all that happened, there was a great kind of split push happening with ONIC. You know, Loopy taking out that top turret, that defense shield. You can see it here in the mid too, being down max stacks here. Poor Kelra, just so much value on this Ranger. It's comfort for a reason, and now they're knocking on the base turrets of Aurora Gaming as the mid turret falls. Lord makes its way down 5. Lunar, half health already, even on this Uranus. He's going to pop the Consecrate. All turrets are going to be stripped out of the base of Aurora Gaming. And now with ONIC, a 10,000 gold lead. They dealt with this in game 1, and now it's their turn. Keyboy looking for an opening here. Lord's going to be worked on. Keyboy jumps on in. Final. Oh, Fatal Links comes through on 3. Still on the defense too. They got to hold it together. Kemba firing off the backside. He's got the space to work with. Siggy Boom. All the shields in the world. They got to go heal back up, but the crystals are going to be locked on. TNZ up on the front side. Kelra gets another. Make it a triple. Can he get the Maniac? They line it up. What a way to take game 2 for ONIC.
A convincing win for ONIC. Sans, man. Gilak Sans is back. And not to mention, every side laner was winning. Kelra was winning. Lupi won right at level 1. And I think a lot of this just boils down to, man, our laning phase kind of sucked. And what we need to fix here in the draft is to make sure one of these lanes need to win. And if it's going to be Sigaboom's lane, they better make sure that he has Flicker rather than the Purify. And that's something that you can't really control, especially since half of those spells are dedicated to this Atlas.
Yeah. And, you know, just as we saw how Aurora made things
First
work for them in
match-la
game one, especially with the draft that they
Hani
brought.
pick panni
This one stopped in its tracks.
இந்த
It's nice
match
to see
இவனுங்க
Lucas,
வந்து
it's nice to see a new
டீம்ல
hero
வந்து
come to
மேஜே
play,
கிடையாது
but
ரஃபீல்
it just didn't work
எடுத்து
at the beginning. You know,
வச்சிருக்காங்க
this was a struggle from the start to the finish. ONIC really put the pressure on just the jungle, but then the rest of the map. I mean, it was really hard for Tianzi to even secure his buffs that he needed and everything else. But also just really good positioning and fighting from Kelra here and the rest of the ONIC squad. Because again, you look at all the room Kelra has here in these highlights. He has all the space to work with, and Sans was so good at playing that Jushin, bringing them back with the lantern, bringing them, utilizing the beacon if he had it to. But I mean, look at this. Even in this, Kelra has all the space in the world to move here.
Yeah, it's just so difficult. Hopefully they figure it out here. We're going to be throwing it over to break it down even more with Rain Day and the boys, of course, Brigida as well.
Thank you so much. I mean, this was the gold standard in action. Gideon and Nice. So you guys didn't have too long of a cast on that one either. It's been quick, decisive games on both sides of it. And now Brig and LaFell, or maybe I should call you both the boys. How are we feeling?
She's our boy, man.
Yeah.
You're one of the boys, Brig.
I can
We're Lagada.
accept that. Lakada? Do you approve of that name?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Whatever.
Yeah, it's your call now, right?
Yeah, no,
Or
I don't
LB,
think so.
we're pounds.
No match.
Let's keep workshopping, and then we'll figure it out.
No,
like ONIC as well, who kept workshopping, and then they figured it out. I think this was a really great response. I feel like this is the chance that they needed. They took it. They finally answered back to Aurora's early game, and they punched them right back. And now Aurora, your move.
Yeah. The Rafaela coming out was something that really I thought was going to be terrifying, was especially terrifying for ONIC and their potential early game. But it was very visible in that game, also mentioned by the casters throughout the game. They won out big on their laning phase, and that's what mattered the most. That's what prevented Aurora from actually maximizing the capabilities of this lineup. Because honestly, on paper, Rafaela, Lucas seem really scary.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This is one of those situations where, especially Kelra, can argue for a raise, be like, did you see my performance? Because honestly, this is, I would say, Briggs, is all the players. Because this is kind of like the, you know what, I spit on your draft. Screw the draft. As long as I'm better, I'm good. Dude, I'll show later during that thing where you hold the mic. Like, this is legit. Just like, I'm better than you. That's it. That's why I won.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, but you know, I think that is selling it too short, because I agree that that's the case, but they weren't able to do that in game one because Aurora had positioned themselves so well. What went wrong in this one? I mean, how did they get to the point where it's like, yeah, let's have an even fight and I can just show them better?
They don't have Paquito. Right?
Really? You think that's that important?
Because Cebu lost that lane hard, and then we saw Lunar losing his lane hard. That's the big difference. And we talk about this in the previous one, where like Aurora has been winning because they side lanes keep on winning.
Yeah.
Look what happens when they lose.
Yeah, and I think you see how that was the plan, the idea that they went from the start when they drafted this lineup. Because even the execution tells you that they just really want to keep invading. They really want to keep fighting, because that's what their lineup is really strong. In terms of, that's where their lineup's really strong. It's in terms of fighting. It's in terms of just out-sustaining, always getting back into fights, because again, you have a Rafaela, you're on flying clouds, but also it's because of your mostly fighter lineup. But you don't really get to see them get to that point where you feel like they just rather would not, or ONIC would rather not fight against them, because they actually had the damage to deal with them. Kelra stacking on those Sky Piercer stacks early on did not allow for Aurora to play the game that they wanted.
That could be the difference. They're not expecting that. LaFell, break down what you saw ONIC respond here in game two.
Very elegant in the way that you grab the mic. So honestly, like, we're not going to be looking much at the draft here, because it really is on that execution. Because I just want to show two big things here, right? Look at this. This is level 1 Lunar. Again, could you like lower it a bit? Just okay, thank you. Like, Lunar is level 1, and then Loopy is level 2. You guys didn't catch it, but she just put it like so high. Anyways, level 1, level 2. This is already quite a big win, because again, the reason why we see Aurora doing well in game number 1, they got the Barats. Barats wins the lane quite hard. Now Lunar is getting bullied a bit, and this is also why I want to say that Kelra deserves a pay raise. He deserves a bonus, because look at the situation here. I mean, honestly, because he does have the flicker, so he is a little bit more brave to go for this trade. But look at this 1v1, straight up 1v1, going up against Sigibum, and then he dies. And then look at the state of the minions as well. Even the gold card is almost dying. So there's a lot of gold on the table There's a lot of gold on the table that's being denied here by ONIC. And then when we go into the team fights, just like what Gideon said, we got to look at Suns, because Suns is honestly destroying the composition of what Aurora is trying to do. And what Aurora is trying to do, all right, Aurora is trying to do is that they have 1 or 2 dedicated map openers. And this one is going to be Lunar. And every single time, I'm just showing you one clip, but Suns multiple times pick up the front line of the team. And then look at how all the while, Kelra in the back, he has free range to keep on hitting, because look at all the HP being brought down by the rest of ONIC here. And then all the while, just look at Kelra. Kelra is just waiting patiently. He just wants that final hit. And with the Sky Piercer, that's kind of all you need. Look at the positions here. Look at how Lunar is gonna get targeted, and then later on, oh, I'm colorblind, I can't see this.
He gets chunked right there.
Yeah, he gets chunked a lot. And this just shows that both teams here, Reindeer as well as Brigitte, they are very high octane kind of teams.
Yeah.
If you get a 1,000 gold lead in the early game for both ONIC as well as Aurora, it's life-changing.
Yeah, I gotta say.
Life-changing.
You see it. Because it's both Sans and Kelra. They're very willing to just go for the front lines. It was highlighted earlier. Sans was lifting whoever just throws up front. And Kelra, being a bit too free, not afraid of trying to go for these heroes first because the damage was a bit too much. I particularly observed that during that one sequence you put there, highlight there, because I think that's where you kind of know that ONIC have already got the game.
6-0 in terms of his overall stats, but his difference in game 1 was really
12-0.
The moment. 6-0 in the moment of that fight. It ended up 12-0, you're right. It ended up tripling almost his damage there, a little bit over 2.2 times from game 1 to game 2, Brigitte. This is the gold standard that we were looking for.
Yeah, it's a complete opposite of what you saw from him in game number 1, where again the matchup was clearly a lot more difficult to execute. So I feel like it's a similar situation that Aurora experienced this time. You kind of thought that they were actually going to have the advantage, granted that they had such a promising lineup synergy-wise. They had all the mobility in the world. They had all the timings in the world. But once they lost on the sides, that changed the outcome drastically, because you could not really rely on the mid trio to just pull off the idea of the draft alone.
It's been interesting because now where do we see the focus shift? It could be the mid that starts to become a little bit more important on the matchup. It's kind of been I don't know, taken not for granted, but we focus so much on the side lanes that where do you get your advantage now if ONIC have an answer for that?
Honestly, I feel like both coaches have been doing quite a good job on getting drafts that is very serviceable by the teams. Right now, it really is just personal mechanics, right? Between Sigibum going up against Kelra. Sigibum, can you beat Kelra? If you beat Kelra, we win the game. If you lose against Kelra, ONIC will win the game. So I feel like, yes, the coaches have to get lane-winning matchups for all the side lanes, but then Kelra just showed, like, if he's better, he's just better.
You know, I like that too, because sometimes when you get to a position like this and anything at a high level, everyone's about as good as everybody else. I mean, there's differences, right? There's moments of who steps up, who's a little bit better under pressure. But you just want to get yourself to a position where the players can decide the match based on how they play. They're not losing out the gate with their draft. So overall, it seems like ONIC and Aurora Gaming, they both set their teams up to win. We'll see what happens in game 3. Before we do that, though, I want to send you to a little bit of a reminder about some new stuff going on with Mobile Legends Adventure.
Skin அது Linux Aggressive Ruby Karina Nagara Maybe Alice Ayala Alice Gaussian Actress The Camp Sports World Cup.
Hi, welcome back. The Indonesian powerhouses of ONIC just take a win over Turkey's representative Aurora Gaming. Big stakes on the line because Indonesia's last hope is basically going up against where the M Series will be hosted, which is in Istanbul. Both teams fighting to have a chance, not only in the end of this series year for MSC and MLBB, but also for this moment right now. And it is up to this game 3 to see who's going to take the lead. Rain Day, Brigitte, Lefel, guys, we have a couple minutes before the draft starts again. I mentioned Indonesia. I want to hit on that even harder because it's 2019 they did it. 2023 they did it. It's 3 years apart. Can they do it again? Are they destined for this? We know that they are watching.
Yeah.
And this is a great start in game 2.
And it's not just Indonesia, I feel like. ONIC as an organization and this lineup that they're looking at right now, apart from a couple changes here and there, have always been so close. They've had multiple instances in the past wherein their international runs have been great. They've made it even all the way to grand finals. I think that was also a couple years back. One of the most significant ones being, I believe, M5, where they were just one win away, literally in the grand finals, and they had a very unfortunate loss against Team Falcons, that we also have right now. So who knows?
I even remember part of the draft. They have the Boxy as well as the Eve. Yeah, that's the Eve just have some kind of curse
when it's best of 7.
Oh yeah. Well, best of 5 here means that this is a decisive blow. This is basically the end of the best of 3. We know they lost to a best of 3, but it did go down to 3. This is a repeat not just of that matchup, but of how that matchup went, where there was a response from ONIC. It was Aurora who would finish it off and end up in that higher upper bracket spot. But now all's fair in love and war. We're right back. It's one game that separates who's taking the lead, except there's still another chance to respond, Lefel. So I'll question to you, what is Aurora's response here now that ONIC seem to have figured them out yet again?
I feel like they try to get the Paquito as fast as possible because, again, ONIC has proven both times now, the first time they met and then the second time, is that they can fight fire with fire. Like, if you want to play early game, we also can play early game. They're from Indonesia. Indonesia is known as a very chaotic, very fight-heavy region. They love drafts that require no items for you to really function. So I feel like Aurora has brought back ONIC to their roots of saying that just keep on fighting, whatever happens, happens. Just trust your mechanics, and that's what they did, and that's how they won. So going back to what you guys said in the second draft, you gotta go back to your own identity. So Aurora kind of pushed them to go back to their identity, and now it works out well.
But wasn't that Aurora's identity too, though? It was, I guess, maybe a bit too much of their identity.
Who has the stronger identity?
Okay, that's the
Brigitte.
Okay.
Do you have a strong identity?
Maybe.
All right,
we find out here, though, who has the stronger identity between these two. Because the Paquito is still open. We mentioned it. I honestly would rather not see it because it's just like gives over so much advantage. But let's see if ONIC would rather let it open.
I mean, that's the question that Aurora now are asking ONIC. Do you want to give us Paquito? And I don't know if it would be a first pick. It would be an okay first pick because you'd still wonder, is this Siggy Boom going to grab it? Or is it going to be something that Lunar plays in the EXP lane? Or could it even be something TNZ plays in the jungle?
I feel like either Barats or Paquito is going to be pretty good here because, again, both win the lane, and then that's kind of like what you need, right? Step 1, win lane. Step 2, win the game. And then they have Freya, and Freya can flex between EXP and gold.
Oh my, we missed this. Yeah,
because she's always banned, though. You can't blame us. We come in, they got the bans up. Okay, but
stop blaming us, Brigitte.
No, I blame myself.
You blame yourself?
Yeah.
Hey, don't.
No, don't blame yourself.
Okay.
Girls are never wrong.
Hey. Okay.
Oh wait, you're a boy. I forgot.
You're part of the boys.
You're part of the boys now. You're wrong.
Hey.
You're wrong,
I see what you did there. I see what you did there, Lefel. Belleric picked up as well as Esmeralda. Paquito ignored for now. They could pick it up again. It would kind of maybe show their cards for the Freya, but it's the Barats.
Oh.
So that's looking like Wait, is
EXP,
that
EXP Barats and then gold lane Freya.
Gold Freya.
Already
Freya.
winning the lanes, and then now with the Eudora as well. AoE
Yes, sir.
crowd control,
Yes, sir.
a lot of
The chance
damage,
with you.
much stronger opening for Aurora here.
And I feel like they don't mind the Pakiro.
Yeah.
And ONIC should not be pressured to pick it up even in this particular scenario if they really want to go for a different game plan. Because at this point, okay, they don't decide to pick it up.
I feel like it's okay because right now the junglers quite a lot has been taken out. I feel like the Ling is not going to be serviceable in this game, so they pick up the Nolan and maybe even ban out something like a Harley just to make sure that Aurora does not have the early game.
Yeah. Because at this point,
எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு
I think they have very stable size already, regardless of what the
Harry
matchup
try
is eventually gonna look
பண்ணுவாங்க.
like.
கோல்ட்லன்னா ட்ரையா இருக்கறா.
So the only problems that could come out in the jungle, I agree, are maybe the Harley and
Yeah.
what else did
And I feel like Aurora ban out gold laners will be good enough here. Right now they ban out the Guinevere. Guinevere is also a good enabler considering that they have Aurora, Eudora in the mid, making it so that she will have quite a lot of damage. And now the carry does get banned out. So yeah, I feel like Aurora, they just ban out gold laners and they should be okay.
yeah. Because they're mostly going for fighters. We also don't know if that's gonna be the option in the jungle.
இனிமேயும் tanky தான் போறானுங்க.
Because
Freya
we're yet
backline
to
jump
figure
பண்ணுவா.
out what the
பிரச்சனை
roam
இல்ல.
is gonna be. It's a Eudora, you definitely see it, but I think also the Cho is a considerable
Yeah.
option for Aurora
Uranus-
at this point. If you really just want to pair it up with the Eudora and whoever jungler you're gonna go for.
That should be what ONIC is thinking. I think maybe do we ban this out? That way we don't have a kick into a stun, into a bite, into a slam.
Into everything.
I mean, it's just 3 characters and they already have way too much to deal with. So ONIC, Coach CW, you're gonna have to see, do we really honor their Cho and ban it out? And it's gonna be the YSS
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
taken out instead. They are looking for a jungle, so that might make a lot of sense. Plus, we have seen YSS, I believe, in this matchup.
Yeah, TNZ has used it before and able to get the win.
Yeah.
Right now, Aurora, honestly, with the bans coming up from ONIC, letting go of the Harley kind of signals to me that they're still considering playing double fighters here, right? They could pick up the mid here and then just see how the options look like. In terms of the mid picks, the Vexana, I think, will do quite well against Aurora, but hey, if you want, you can even pick up a Valentina. I don't think there's a good ult to take, so that's why I still prefer the Vexana. Other than that, yeah, Vexana, you know, Vex should be okay.
Either are safe, but it's just probably a bit more safer for the Valentina if it's just survivability that you're considering in the mid lane. Because I feel like there are just so many angles to play around with if you're looking at Aurora's first 3 picks, but they lock in Farsa.
Farsa?
What the Farsa?
What the Farsa indeed. Was played pretty well earlier, I think.
There's a lot of
yesterday.
bursts here coming in from ONIC. So yeah, I think it's just like who has more firepower, right? Who has more damage, we will win. And now the Mentor gets picked up as well as the Paquito. So is it Paquito jungle or Baraz jungle? Yeah, knowing Midnight, he might even throw Freya in the jungle. So we just don't entirely know the matchup here.
It's you can't tell.
I mean,
I think it's gonna be Paquito jungle though.
Just assume the worst possible
Wow,
matchup.
but Sicky Boom played a great Paquito. Would you really force him off that if it's in? I mean,
what if Tienzi's better? Didn't think that one, huh?
He could be. He could be. We do for sure know it's going to be, I think it's going to be Barat's EXP.
Because I feel like even if you don't like win it out through the Paquito, the Freya is still going to do a relatively decent job. Is it the Lapu gold or an Esme gold? Lapu gold!
Well, again, like this is why they don't ban out the Harley, because they're like, yeah, you know what? You want to fight fire with fire? Well, we got Suns as well as Kyrie coming in with the Nolans was first. That's a lot of burst damage.
It's a lot of team fight. It's a team fight
It's what
lineup.
the Farsa.
What the Farsa. And the AoEs too. Minotaur and Belleric. Just imagine what could happen when it comes to the team fights.
Siggy Boom will take the Freya in gold. Lunar will be on the Barats as well. It'll be a Paquito jungle from TNZ. Oh man, game 3 could be where things start to shift for 2 regions desperately fighting for a chance at the semifinal. The bid is on the line. Best of 5, game 3. Send it back to Naisu and Gideon.
The world has demanded for bloodshed, and today we are going to get it here at game number 3. This is going to be spicy because both compositions want to get into your face. They all want to do one thing and find that first blood as we jump right into it. Aurora, for those of you tuning in, is going to be on blue side, facing up against ONIC on the red.
Yep. I like that how they went through this draft. Whoa, Sans. Okay, concussive blast, that little jump through from Baku. Enough damage to send him back. He doesn't burn the Purify at least.
At the very least here, but at least Baku now gets to walk into enemy territory for free, and not to mention they're playing on their strong side. Lunar already generating a lead of his own, and Baku takes like no damage.
Whoa!
Dead.
Holy moly! I think, you know, that is not what I was expecting that early on. First blood.
And all of that, why? Because, unfortunately for Sans, he just took too much damage. And now they're going to start pressing their lead to the opposite side. This is the early game that Aurora is most well known for. And now that TNZ is on this Paquito, and he's already level 3, he does some real damage.
Oh man, they're not letting up too. Again, playing around this pressure that Aurora Gaming has already secured themselves in the first couple minutes of the game. Trying to slow down Kyrie here a bit, but I think ONIC can go ahead and kind of readjust from this. Maybe even potentially. I mean, there's still 30 seconds for that turtle to come up. They can just kind of let that go if they have to, but knowing ONIC, they probably won't just give it up for free, even despite the pressure they're feeling this early on.
Yeah, absolutely not. They need to contest for this. I mean, this really depends on whether Sans actually hits level 4, right? Because he's the secondary win condition in this early game next to Kyrie. And even as we see this game progress, because of that early recall, the control we're seeing from Aurora, now Kyrie is like, man, this early game might not be in my hands.
Yeah, now it's Kyrie asking for the green camp control, man. You know, trying to protect these right now as Aurora doesn't let up. They do get the retribution out, though, so I guess that is going to be the decision by ONIC, especially since Kyrie's on level 4. Let's just give up this first turtle, give it to Aurora. They've won it by just how much pressure they put on. Oh, a big slam through into the wall. Loopy gone after Daytona's welcome. Keyboy could be next series, just going to be zoned out. Nope, the 1-2 punch comes through and Lunar picks up a kill.
The autopilot here. Let's not forget that Aurora just seems to be more well-connected overall, and it seems like ONIC, they needed to regroup, but unfortunately Lukpi just took the wrong path and did not want to commit his ult. I think moments like that gets really, really difficult for ONIC. Now, Sigaboom, he's more than happy. He unfortunately is in the losing matchup, but he doesn't mind as long as he's not losing out on gold or EXP. Kelra can try and lock this lane for as long as he wants, but if we do see that Sigaboom's rotating consistently, he should be able to get mid-waves as well.
Yeah, and as you just saw, that's such a good kind of like a counter that Pagu has against that feather airstrike, obviously with the Minotaur, you know, and if it's, once he has the Flask through the Oasis and it kind of helps buff up that sustainability that comes with that motivational Aurora, you can then just kind of follow up with the mini jump, but then the ultimate, right, that he has that it just can set things up and stop ONIC's main game plan, which is playing around this Farsa's damage kit into a Rathodride, into setting things up for the Nolan on Kyrie to follow through. We've seen the burst damage before, but even on the other side, the counter to that is Tianzi. This Paquito jungle, which most of us have seen in the gold lane. Hold on, Lunar, okay, he's going to try to get away. Feathered airstrike dropped down, but he's tanky enough to survive it. Just with the Daytona's welcome.
Didn't seem like the most optimal choice overall. I get it if Lunar didn't have the stacks, but once he builds up on those stacks, he's actually comparable to like 1.5 of Lapu, right? Yeah. I think that should be the ratios that should be in their head. I think they were assuming that Kyrie was going to do a little bit more damage, but he's already 2 levels down, right? He's basically the same level as Lutfi, and even Lutfi knows for a fact that he can't chunk Lunar for more than half of his HP, and even then, we're asking for a lot. Overall, this has been a really great start for Aurora as they've controlled the entire bottom side, and it's unlucky that it spawns back down to the bottom side once more.
Yeah, right now, Aurora Gaming is basically just kind of coasting on through this early portion of the game. Second turtle's going to be up here, though, so we'll see if this time ONIC wants to possibly fight both mid laners, picking up the glowing wands here. Again, this Eudora been such a mainstay in the meta currently, and you see why. You know, the multiple stuns that you can kind of dish out, the damage, the poke that you can do, that burst on such a kind of low cooldown is a problem. Tianzi also picking up a Sky Piercer now on that jungle Paquito. Turtles up.
I don't think we can do this here. They're thinking about it, but he's leveled down onto TNZ, and I'm pretty sure that TNZ can just hold on to that champion stance.
Okay. Flickered forward. They're going to force this fight. Kelra on Sigaboom, though. Sigmund trying to get away. Meanwhile, Lunar's the one to fall. The team fight's going all wrong for Aurora. Sands. There's the what the farsa. 2 kills now, double, and that's going to be a turtle for ONIC.
A really nice play. Great interception coming in from ONIC here, making sure that at least they're dropping down their abilities on the right targets. Like, Lunar set it up pretty nicely. However, unless TNZ finds that trade onto Kyrie or even Sans, then it's just not worth the time. Denial!
Oh, goodbye. Good punish there. 'Cause I was going to say, Kyrie could not get away with that after everything ONIC did, but mind you, that whole interaction has now stopped that gold lead that was building for Aurora Gaming. It was about 2,000. That's been pretty much dealt with. Kelra won't get this turret just yet, but he does do quite a bit of damage to it. Meanwhile, they got the bottom turret traded out. So ONIC now opening up the map a little bit here.
Kelra's doing a really good job. Like, first turtle, okay, Sigabum walks out of it. You notice that he's only level 3. And that's when you know, like, okay, sure, he probably doesn't need to be there, but at the same time, you never really know what's going through Aurora's mind, especially what they're willing to risk. And I think that's the problem that ONIC has been facing these past couple of games. They're not 100% sure whether Aurora is willing to die for certain moments in these games to get a little bit more later on. But now that the Feather Airstrike has been used early, they are making the statement, you know what? As long as Sigibum doesn't scale, TNZ will eventually fall off.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, too, that I guess the downside. Oh, hold on. Kelra, he wants this turret. Aurora Gaming wants Kelra. Falling Star Moon, a bit of a burst of damage to Kelra. Be able to survive. Is there going to be a counter punch here from ONIC? They just make sure Kelra survives. They back up. Hold on. Daytona's welcome. Right on cue. Nice. Into 2. Lunar now going to be in trouble. The burst comes through. And Kyrie will pick up a kill. I didn't know if Aurora Gaming was going to continue to fight, but they decided to go for it.
They made a mistake there for sure. Kelra played it perfectly, using his Purify to ensure that they don't find the one-shot and sets it up for something more dangerous down the line. This is what I'm talking about. This is a game of boxing here. Let's look at the replay one more time, because as soon as Keyboy, this looked like a very good punish from Aurora until Lutpi says, you know what? As long as the damage dealer can actually go for their full combo, which they know that Rosa doesn't have, this should be a free pick on to Lunar. And they know for a fact that Bravest Fighter, it's on a short cooldown, so they can just drag this out and wait until Lutpi has it. Aurora trying to punish.
Lunar needs the stacks. Daytona's welcome. Fighting off the turret. Poggin jumping in. Minoyan Fury knock up 3. Keyboy's gone. But a Feather Airstrike comes down from Sans. And now, Lutpi flickering forward. Trying to zone out Tenzi. He's swinging around here. He's going to fight off Sigibum. This is a fight all gone wrong right now for ONIC. The 1-2 from TNZ. And there's again, fighting for the turtle. Kyrie trying to find space, but Rosa comes in with the stun. Turtle secured by Aurora. And Kyrie goes down as well. Kelra could be next. Everybody's here to clean them up, and Kelra falls. It all falls apart for ONIC.
Oh no. Worst case scenario for ONIC. Aurora able to find the lead back again, and worse yet, they're able to take out a majority of the members of ONIC, pulling themselves to the lead that they had before. Now, just an extra 400 gold on top of it, and TNZ is probably at his strongest at this point. We're not going to take away these green camps. Don't worry, Pagu, nobody's mad at you this time, but let's look at the items, because we're at a dangerous state. They're looking to make sure that TNZ is strong enough to one-shot Sans at every point of the game, but TNZ, keep in mind, that's solely based on the Sky Piercer.
Man, TNZ has done an amazing job just kind of farming up here. You know, yes, he's got 4 kills, but even with that Sky Piercer, and you see the gold lead that he's had, and a lot of that is supplemented because of the way that Aurora Gaming has played the map, you know, from the start to up to now at that 9-minute mark, which will set themselves up for a good Lord take. But ONIC has showed us that they're willing to fight. A lot of these team fights are kind of weird the way they play out, right? Because it's either going to be started up by Lunar. Oh, there's some good burst coming through. Divine Glaive was picked up recently by Rosa, but either Lunar was started up, or ONIC can kind of go ahead and choose to start things up. The downside of the Belric having the Revitalize is obviously you can't surprise anyone with that flicker combination we're used to seeing. So it's got to come from someone else, and mostly it's been from Lutpi flickering forward, trying to set up, or trying to just keep things split up in these team fights. And that's why they're so finicky with the way they play it out.
And that's why I say this is like a boxing match, right? As much as you want to throw your lead hand out with a big haymaker, you also have to keep in mind that Aurora could be throwing their own haymaker. Wait a second, Keyboy!
Keyboy, what's he doing? He's going to get eaten up here. Rosa's gone, though. Kelra now splitting up the fight. There's a stun right on the mark. Minoue and Fury knocked in the air. Sands in trouble though. Can't get away from Siggy Boom. And now in the Valkyrie form, he's going to be splitting up Kyrie and Loopy from the fight while Keyboy's got nowhere to go. A proc on the Sky Piercer. Looking to clean up more under the tier 2 tower. A double for TNZ. More stacks for this Paquito. And now they take down the tier 2 turret, Kelra. He's tanky enough. He should be fine. He'll just clear out the waves.
Yeah, he is not worried at all, but the rest of his team does not have that same grace. And Sigaboom has been playing an amazing Freya, a losing matchup, and yet watch this, right? As they were playing this fight, they recognize, hey, no feathered airstrike. They also lost the Wrath of the Dryads, and that's when they decided to throw everything. Even Sans recognizing, hey, I gotta use the Purifier to get away from a flicker and rage charge coming in from Pagu, but it doesn't matter when Sigaboom has stuck on to the rest of your team, cutting you down one by one with no way to stop you. The lack of CC is going to be a huge issue.
Oh, hold on. Daytona's welcome use on live cam. Kelra going to be in trouble again. And Minoue and Fury knocking him in the air. Keyboy can't get away. Once again, Siggy Boom leading the charge of the Valkyrie form. A big stun comes through from Loopy though. Able to stop him in their tracks, but he gets dropped back by the Rockets. But ONIC, they want to fight back. Kyrie trying to get away with Lunar. Not enough damage on the stomp there, that auto attack. Not going to be able to take out Kyrie, but man, what a fight in the jungle.
This is a beautiful game here. Despite being 5.6k ahead, Aurora lose out on Sigaboom in comparison to Keyboy. An upward trade for ONIC, but the economic damage is not done just yet. Another structure falls in the favor of Aurora. Another buff taken away from Kyrie. He's struggling this game. He's 1-4-4, and every single person he wants to go for the kill has some form of damage reduction, has some form of anti-CC, or worse yet, just raw sustainability.
Yep, really good play there from ONIC because of the fact that they took out Sigaboom in the last fight. They pretty much alleviate that damage that Lord push would have done. Again, you're just seeing, despite being down these thousands of gold, ONIC somehow is still able to actually go toe-to-toe in the team fight against Aurora Gaming here. And now for them, again, they have to look at what's their best angle? What's the best attack plan here for them? And especially when it comes to the jungle, because Aurora Gaming has not let up on this as they continuously try to take these buffs. Again, Daytona's welcome, throwing him into the wall. Keyboy, it's going to be, again, the focus. A feathered airstrike to follow through. And now Siggy Boom on the back line. He's just everywhere. Sound's got nowhere to go. Forget the turret, forget everyone else. Aurora Gaming will just go for this fight, tossing everyone around, and they just go full-on wipeout against ONIC, and that's going to get Aurora Gaming this game under their belt, taking the series 2-1.
The one extra detail is what makes Sigaboom one of the best Freyas here in this competition. When he fights, he's already looking ahead of the map thinking, you know what, I can't 1v5, but if there's just enough minions, I will be able to sustain through the damage with my Descent of the Valkyries to have the extra AoE per auto attack, which is why you're seeing go from 0 to 100, 0 to 100 every single time. A dangerous game that ONIC is playing here, and one that they need to figure out right here, right now. There's too many holes in that draft. Last time it was missing that Atlas. Now, dealing with the Freya seems to be impossible. The ideas are good, but if Kyrie can't find that early game advantage, I don't know how they're going to play.
I gotta say, man, again, you know, now that it's match point here that Aurora Gaming is going into against ONIC, Lunar was a big part of this. The way he played the Spirits, the way that he was able to go ahead and lock down, sometimes it was just Keyboy, but his timings of the Daytona's welcome were just pivotal, but also Pagu. Again, this Minotaur hasn't been brought up too much, but you can just see how much crowd control comes into play for this, makes it happen. I mean, even something before this fight broke out, Sigaboom picked up the Corrosive Scythe, and this was enough to kind of, you know, slow them down a little bit so that they could follow through on this. Even going and flickering forward under that tier 2 turret just allowed them to collapse down. Almost every single fight after this looked like that. Lunar starting up, Sigaboom jumping towards the back line, putting enough pressure there, and then the follow-through where they just collapse around ONIC's lineup.
Let's not forget the raw amount of CC that Aurora actually has to cancel out big abilities. There's so much to talk about in this game, but we're going to leave it over to the panel to break it down for you guys here in game number 3. Rain Day, what'd you think about it?
Well, I loved it. I loved it because it set up another story that this MSC is bringing all of us, which is the title defense. In 2023, ONIC, the team that you see here, that organization was able to win at MSC. In 2024, it was SRG. They were able to take the crown again, and then they would go to another final, a grand final against the defending champions, Team Liquid PH. But as we have seen, for the former two, they have been knocked out of the competition. ONIC is the last remnant of a championship that may be falling again. And with one more game, Aurora could put the final nail in that story's coffin. Here's a little bit more about the journey, about the stakes, and about what has happened up until this point for the champion defense of MSC.
Another life, another chance, but not to Stormy! From the start of MSC in EWC, there's never been a back-to-back champion here. It started with SRG, Selangor Red Giants in 2024. They won it all, went all the way to the grand finals in 2025, but unfortunately had to suffer defeat against Team Liquid. They came in as strong contenders, looking to be the one to break the curse. The back-to-back was strong up until we saw the biggest downfall ever. The biggest upset in MLBB history. Team Liquid dropped out of the competition in groups without a single game victory. Now the question is, what happened to Team Liquid? Why is the curse so strong of no back-to-back?
I cannot tell what really went wrong. Pressure, or is it the mental aspect of it? Maybe some of the things were wrong. But as of now, all I can say is that that's definitely not the level that we usually bring. It might be the worst international run for us. Definitely not what we expected, but we will learn from and come back stronger.
We're so not prepared to the meta shift. We didn't think that it would affect us so much. There's a lot of people saying that I can't keep up with the assassin meta, and yeah, they were right. I will need to do better next time. It sucks to lose this early in the tournament. It's my first time experiencing this. I don't want it to happen again.
For me, it was a failure. I don't think anyone expected this to be this bad. Even now, I still can't believe that. From last year, winning all of it, and then now being the first team to be eliminated. We must recover first with what we're feeling right now and find that motivation all over again. Let's see where life takes us.
I think Liquid came in thinking that they were prepared, but it wasn't enough. They didn't cover a lot of their bases, especially with the new patch, with the new meta. From us, honestly, we just didn't care because we played our game. The biggest disappointment came from when they lost against E7. I don't know if they did this, but maybe they've underestimated all the teams here. That's the curse of being number one, and I think that's what happened. They just didn't think that people would catch up to them.
Team Liquid getting eliminated from groups without a single win. I'm just as shocked as the rest of the world is. It felt like I wasn't watching Liquid. Underperforming, I think, for the results of Liquid here is an understatement. It didn't feel like Liquid. It felt disconnected.
For me, Carl, I know Carl since I've been playing with him since my rookie season, which is season 6. I know him and I don't think that he would give up that easily. Yeah, I hope he would still try his best, and I really hope to meet him again in M8.
The PH team got shocked in some of the pocket picks of the other teams. We are not really familiarized on that hero, so we just got us good, and I think we can still adapt if they try pocket picks again.
This MSC and EWC has brought us tons of surprises and shocks. We set our sights to see, again, who can rise above and be the champions this year.
Well, it wasn't easy for the GOAT, Carl, TZ, and Team Liquid PH to take that loss, but they've taken it on the chin. You heard it from Sanford, you heard it from Carl. They understand that there's more to do. They understand that they might have been in a position to look at this tournament in eyes that didn't work for whatever reason. It might have been lack of preparation. It could have also just been not being ready for that meta. It could have been mental, as Coach Aon said as well. We won't quite know, and there's no point in going too back at it, guys, because right now, you've got ONIC in a very similar position where they have reached this final, but they're in the knockout stages, potentially one game away from going out.
Yeah, one of the, again, you mentioned, few remaining remnants of a champion, MSC champion left here in this tournament. And they're currently up against Aurora, who are already at match point. So we are about to literally rewrite history here in MSC 2026 if ever the script does not flip in ONIC's favor. And the way we're seeing it right now, it's constant adaptation and Aurora being the better prepared team every single time.
What is it do to look at the rest of this tournament and how it's gone and apply that logic to we may see the remnants of a championship falling? Because to me, it feels right in line with what we've seen. We've seen a new meta. We've seen old players and new players struggle with it. We've seen dynasties already fall. I mean, wouldn't it be apropos, since we're in France, to see a new champion here at this MSC?
What I see during this MSC is that this is a new beginning, right? Because for countless years now, Southeast Asia has been dominating the MLBB field. But this shows with the right tweaks of the meta, with teams getting used to the pressure that Southeast Asia usually put on tournaments, now we can see that this meta is an equal playing field. And just like what Coach Midnight said, I think it's not exclusively for TL. I feel like every single team, even if you're coming in here as the underdog, as a dark horse, you tend to underestimate your opponents, be like, they're not that great, we can take them down. And now this just shows that MLBB is just in a state where everyone can win. And I think that's a very healthy spot for the game.
Yeah, and it's very timely because it's, I think, the first time we actually held a tournament in this part of the world.
Yeah.
And we're finally seeing the more newer regions really stepping up and being the quote-unquote final boss now, if really Aurora gets to maintain this kind of performance, which they likely will, unless ONIC get to pull out something and definitely reset out of what happened in that game, because it was pretty fast again. And it's always been the case. It's always fast games, and I don't think you really want to go up against or go through those kinds of games, especially in crucial moments like this.
They have shown a little bit of weakness, but it's the exact same. This is basically exactly how the first series went, LaFell. What did you see breaking down game 2? And then, of course, game 3 here that we just had that has put Aurora 2-1 up against ONIC.
Well, first of all, we got to look at ONIC's draft here. The king and queen here, Nolan as well as the Farsa. This is going to be the main damage coming in from ONIC. Now, here's the thing. Nolan pseudo gets countered by the Minotaur and as well as both of these fighters. Just because they're tanky, it's hard to take them down. And the Minotaur heals them back up. So it makes it so that Nolan's damage is nullified. So then the biggest problem is you got to take on the queen, which is the Farsa. Farsa is honestly able to win the entire team fight by herself, creating just so much damage, and then the rest of the team, they just got to clean up. So we got to look at how ONIC won in the early game, and then what changed that made them lost, right? We're going to be looking at the first clip here. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Well, we look at the early game, this is still what Aurora and ONIC, both they want to do. And we heard from Pagu, the green caps are very important. We see here that four members of Aurora just to get this one camp. This just shows how important the jungle really is in terms of getting gold for yourself as well as denying gold from your opponent. So that's something both teams have to look out for. And then we got to look at the laning phase here. Look at how Kelra, he has won against Sigibum, but this is not the important part. We see what moves on later on because we will see Sigibum and Kelra both going to the turtle pit. And this is where I really want to bring this up. The reason why ONIC has been winning these fights is because there's a good focus on making sure that Sigibum is not part of the fight. And the one that's doing that is Kelra. Kelra is doing an amazing man-to-man defense, making it so that Sigibum is not part of the fight. So why is that significant? Well, number one is that we're going to be looking at a team fight here. And this is what we see. We see Lunar engaging into the fight, able to get Loopy, and Keyboy is there. But look at how free Sans is, right? Sans is completely free here so that he's able to deal out a lot of damage and untouched. But more importantly, look at Sigibum. Sigibum has been stopped by Kelra. He has no more HP and Kelra is stopping him. So no damage to the damage dealers. And this is why we see Aurora is just not enough firepower in the fight. But then we see things start to shift just by this. Look at the different positionings here. Hold on. All right. So now you can see more clearly. Kelra is here, but he's against Rosa and Lunar. You don't see Sigibum there. Sigibum is all the way here, right? So even though he's half HP, he's not super healthy, but as long as Kelra is not man-to-man defense on Sigibum, look at how different the team fight looks. Look at all three members immediately jumping onto Loopy, and then look, more importantly, Sans and Kyrie. They're both clumped up together. It makes it easier for Sigibum to get on top of them, making it so that there's no damage in the fight. We see how this fight progresses. Later on, Rosa even able to stun up Kyrie, and Sans is just not able to do much in this game. So I would say the the change that happened is that Sigibum knows he has to avoid Kelra. As long as Sigibum and Kelra are not at the same part of the map, Sigibum is just free. And this is why Gideon even said both teams are trying to throw haymakers.
Yeah.
Kelra has been blocking that shot time and time again. The moment Sigibum is free, there's just no damage coming in from ONIC. That's why they kept on losing.
Yeah, and I feel like it was just really Aurora being the more capable of team of adjusting on the fly, because their roles, I feel, were a bit more flexible in a sense.
Yeah.
Because yes, Esmeralda is typically a hero you see in the EXP lane, but it was flexed into gold. But at the same time, if you look at their composition as a whole, aside from being more flexible, their roles and their jobs can be very different. Aurora, they have so much more sieging power, so you maybe could assign different people to deal with wave management at the same time. And on top of that is the fact that, again, they can be more creative with their angles. You could say the same too for ONIC, but at the same time, it's coupled with really good damage. I don't think you could totally say the same for ONIC, who have sort of really opted to just build more defense, be more protectors rather than damage dealers as well. But on the other side, Aurora, individually, they're just players that you could really, or you should really be aware of.
I feel like ONIC, a quick adjustment is to understand who's the threat and making sure they're able to deal with it. The moment they know that they can't deal with it, then it starts becoming a problem. Because I feel like the way that Kelra played, I think Coach Yeb and CW are saying, like, make sure that Sigibum is taken care of. And I feel like just in the mid game, is just Aurora able to make sure that Sigibum is never get caught. So I feel like on the fly, they got to change the plan. Kelra, if you can't do it, someone else has to do it. As long as Sigibum is not in the map, they should be good. They just couldn't adjust.
Handling that problem with the Paquito is a tough one, because you're letting it through the draft, so you got to deal with it. But if Kelra's the only one who can do it, the only game that they won, Kelra was 12-0 or something like that.
Yep.
I mean, he needs to go off. And if his role is just making sure that Sigibum goes 2-2,
Yeah.
but he goes 0-2, I mean, that's not enough. You need a win from Kelra.
I agree. It's always
Go back to your ace.
Yeah, it's always been the case for ONIC though. The carries have always really been Kelra, Kyrie, I think a bit of Sans here and there. Specifically in that last game, I think they really attempted for Sans to be one of the main ones, because they've shifted Kelra into a role that was not so carry of him. But that too didn't work, because again, the nature of the lineup that you were going up against was a lineup that could just keep diving in your face. And Sans had a very, what do you call it? It's a hero that just stays.
Yeah, he's stationary.
It's a stationary hero, so.
I mean, like yesterday we saw Falcons going up against Vitality, and that's the biggest problem, where Vitality doesn't have a dive hero. And that's where we see the ultimate strength of the Farsa, right?
Yeah.
Able to deal damage freely, but against a Freya, against a Lapu, against an Alice, against a Yuzong. There's so many heroes that the Farsa has to be careful of. It's just that in this game, Freya was there. If the Freya wasn't there, I could have seen ONIC winning that draft.
They played with it. I mean, they said, okay, here, we'll see what happens if Freya gets let through. It did not work. Freya and Paquito have been punishing, and it's not that every team is doing this. We're not seeing a Paquito gold lane every single time, but we are seeing it with Aurora, and I think Aurora should keep going for it until ONIC use one of their bans or they come up with a way to beat it.
But that's a thing though. It's always been the Paquito.
And I think Aurora should keep going for it until ONIC use one of their bans and punishing. And it's not that every team is doing this. We're not seeing a Paquito gold.
இது இன் கேம் ப்ரொஃபைல் ஐகான செட்டிங்ஸ்ல ரெடிம்ஷன் கோட் விக்டரி முடிஞ்சிரும்டா ஸ்டிக் டைம்க்குள்ள.
Lane every single time, but
100% is going to get stolen,
it's
right?
taken, so we're gonna grab it early. They get the priority. In some ways, the one thing I was saying, we haven't seen ONIC respond again. We saw them lose, then win, then lose, and this set was over. Now we get to see their response. Maybe they do have an answer ready for this.
At the very least, though, it's not both the Freya and Paquito open.
At least.
At least
Yeah.
on Aurora's side. But if it's an answer to the Paquito, it's so
Is
competitive.
Melissa something that needs to come out a little bit more?
I think it's an option. I think it's an option.
Not a direct one.
Yeah, not a direct one, but it's kind of like not the worst thing, right? Now they pick up a Zushin as well as the Uranus, and now the Eudora. I think the Eudora is, again, just to shut down Kyrie because, again, the Uranus and Zushin, they don't care too much about Eudora.
That's a lot of burst damage you're already seeing from Aurora, though. And you see the vulnerable heroes from...
Hey, this is how you start an avalanche. You gotta go loud.
Yeah.
And all of the games, well, except for the second one, that was clearly an Aurora avalanche.
It's looking to be another one here if ONIC don't show us their answer in response to these heroes from Aurora just yet. The Cho's already being taken out. We don't know if they're going to resort back to their identity and just go for a Kiboy Kelra combo or hero synergy that works. But with the Cho taken out, I think that's less options for ONIC overall.
Unless they pick up a carry, I don't think they can play pickoff because Kalia is still there if they want to play pickoff, but their draft doesn't really look like it's centered around that. And now even the Granger, good respect here coming in from Coach Midnight.
Yeah. Uranus was picked up on the side previously of Aurora in the EXP lane. We've also seen Barats. We've seen Hilda. That was a loss, however. So forcing something different. The Freya also banned as well, saying let's just see if we can get a little bit of an advantage here. The Esmeralda also banned. So a lot of the EXP answers that Aurora have gone to, not available this game.
There is the Alice deal if they want a front line that can kind of engage into the fight. We haven't seen a Terizla, but it could be viable. The only problem is that Zushin. So I feel like Alice might be the safest if they just want a front line in the EXP.
So if they go Alice, then that's...
Oh yeah, it's Mayban, yeah.
So it's all the more reason for ONIC to at least pick up a source of shred or DPS. But you don't really want to claw against the Paquito anymore.
Carry, you need a carry. Or Moskov.
A Moskov carry is an option, but...
Melissa is also not bad. Yeah, going up against Eudora, it's very awkward to pick up a mid-range marksman.
Pagu on the pick, trying to figure out what's next for Aurora. They've caught ONIC by surprise. Really not too much. It's been clear what they've wanted. We expected Midnight to throw some crazy stuff out there. It's pretty much been double fighter, Paquito in the gold lane that's caused problems. And another Harith.
So it's not Paquito in the gold for Aurora in this game at least. So maybe...
It could be jungle or EXP.
Oh, wow. And they're still flexing that opportunity.
Yeah. So maybe Kelra could feel a bit better about picking up a gold lane matchup towards or into the Harith this time, regardless of how they want to play this.
Yeah.
But Keyboy, his options in Rome have been limited as well. You need the information. There's a Eudora that's just gonna be...
I feel like Hylos is going to be pretty good because you just need someone to absorb that burst, give a lot of space to the Uranus, as well as a good combination with the Zushin.
Yeah.
If they don't, I can see a Gatot doing okay.
Because it's dangerous grass, so I think it's all the more reason for Aurora to just keep going in for the surprises, but they go for Brody Gatot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Got a Kacha, potentially a little bit of counter engage with the ultimate if somebody
Yeah.
gets in. Just the knock-up stun and have a chance to also move into that. So if he's caught out of position, maybe could even get aggressive with it. So the Gato might be a good idea.
Right now, ONIC, it looks like they have lane-winning matchups, or at least the possibility to win that lane. And knowing Kelra, I'm not going to doubt him. I feel like he could do it. So I feel like for ONIC, they try to win the side lanes and then go off of there. Because again, that's kind of like the story this entire series.
Yeah, and at least Kelra is going to have a bit more range to play around with. if you don't really want to walk up close to Aurora and get caught in by the burst damage by the Pakiro and the Eudora, but the high loss to wrap up the draft for Aurora.
You like it, Brig?
Yeah, it's a different hero that we're seeing on Pagu all over again, but I think it's going to help so much if it's revitalized, especially in just sustaining the overall team fights.
Hylo's going to be in the EXP lane here. Pagu going Belleric on the roam, so this will be an interesting matchup, guys. It's going to be game number 4. Aurora has a chance to send ONIC home. This would be one for the record books as well, as we would see the Turkey A representative moving on to the semifinals with just one more game. We'll see if they can silence the crowd as we go to our casters.
Thank you so much, Rain Day. Once again, history being made here today. Turkey may have their one opportunity to make history and say, you know what, this is our best finish ever, and it can only go up from here. But on the opposite side, ONIC, the Sky Kings themselves, very understandably that most people will see them as the favorites, but it's tough. So far, we've seen so many good plays from either side, but Aurora keeps getting one over them just like this. But ONIC, this time, now forcing Rosa to take the early recall.
Yeah, little reminiscent of the last game, right? But that time it was Sans that had to burn his battle spell early on, or was actually pressured enough to go back to base early on. But luckily for Rosa, no death, right? So no first blood yet, but this is kind of what we expected to see between this early game already. Now, one thing I have to question though too is this Hylos pick. We were wondering what would pop up in the XP lane given the bans and everything else. Now, is this the right thing against the Uranus?
I think so far against the Uranus, it doesn't matter. It's not about the laning phase, it's about the team fights later down the line, right? They have a way to kind of slow Kyrie down, force him to use his iframes early on, and I think the Glorious Pathway is significant to try and slow down both Sans and Kelra from either chasing those kills or to chase them if the impact from Aurora's team fight is just that much greater. We'll see on the very first turtle here to see how that's going to play out, because level 4s, they're going to be extremely key for Aurora.
Yeah, you got to think about it this way too. The crowd control, once again, that Aurora Gaming has been playing around with is what's helped their lineups and execution so much. Seekaboom's going to be sent back to base here because, again, going back to the crowd control options for Aurora, you know, they've got that stun that comes with the Hylos. You mentioned with the Glorious Pathway, slowing them down too, or speeding yourself up, which can help even Rosa. Go for that stun on this Eudora. And then, of course, you have Pagu and the Belleric, right? This time around, too, you've got a Flicker because of the fact that you have the Hylos with that Revitalize, kind of that sustainability to work with. So Pagu's surprise factor can be beneficial here. So ONIC, as they approach these fights, you know, they have enough crowd control themselves. They have sustainability with their own Revitalize. And, you know, that's why when you see these compositions come through and you see the Revitalize come to play, it extends these team fights, which can be favorable, again, to have a Jushin, to have Kelra's space here. Oh, a couple punches. Okay. Better to burn the Flicker than die there for Kelra.
I totally agree, but more importantly, that just saved Seekaboom his entire laning phase. And now there's a potential angle here, but as long as Seekaboom is able to, you know, get some help to break that freeze, it makes things so much easier, because he was about to get frozen out and not be able to play the laning phase at all. Down by bot side, though, I'm surprised that Luna was able to get this much pressure, considering that Lupe is supposed to be the one who actually kind of maintains full control overall. Like, his passive into the Ring of Punishment really just kind of doesn't matter. It's just a free stacks for him. Okay.
Little jump in from Kiboy. I mean, they wanted to make a play on Rosa, but Rosa holds on to the Flicker too, so that's a no-go there in the mid lane. A couple ultimates thrown out, and it's back to it. But ONIC slowly building up what they can across the map. Much slower pace, you know, than what we have to see, because again, ONIC needs to kind of slow this down in a bit, let Kyrie get to where he needs to be, and pressure where they can. Right now, mid lane, okay, Sans still gonna be okay. Much mana to work with here, though.
Yeah, again, at least Rosa is able to try and equalize the EXP just a little bit against Sans. Unfortunately, oh, hold on.
Oh, Seekaboom fighting off Kelra here in the 1v1. Taking too many shots, though. First blood in the hands of Kelra. Man, did he fight for that one. Can right now, mid lane. Okay, Sans still going to be okay. Much mana to work with here, though.
Yeah, again, at least Rosa is able to try and equalize the EXP just a little bit against Sans. Unfortunately, oh, hold on.
Oh, Seekaboom Fighting off Kelra here in the 1v1. Taking too many shots, though. First blood in the hands of Kelra. Man, did he fight for that one.
Oh, predicted from Kelra as well. Anticipating where the Chrono Dash was going to be. And now they have to protect these green camps. Lunar is going to try, but that retribution is a little too big for the side of Kyrie as they continue to take these small incremental leads and making sure that when they do the man-to-man defense, there's always just a huge tax that ONIC applies on towards Aurora's side.
Oh, Pagu. He's going to go ahead and heal up a little bit here, but okay, ONIC's not going to follow through with that. They are just looking for those small wins. They're looking to compound the interest here. Gideon, as you mentioned, now Zaman Force dropped down. Kelra going in with a bit of stun there to work with. Torn apart memory. Not going to be enough. And Siggy Boom will get his revenge. And now Sans re-engaging with the beacon. The rest of the team to follow through. Kyrie will be able to pick up a kill for himself. Now TNZ off the wings alongside Lunar. Glorious pathway drop down and Sans trapped, nowhere to go. Keyboy with a jump. Not going to be able to find the target. They're split up here. Now TNZ waiting once again on the call. Lunar will go ahead and just force out ONIC from this area.
And that's officially Aurora actually winning out big time on that trade. Where was Kyrie? Was he not in position to try and trade for Kelra, or was he 100% confident that Kelra was going to win that no matter what? Risky as it is, at least the flicker is back up, and more importantly, Kyrie already getting his own Sky Piercer. Let's see if they can snowball this, because fortunately for Lunar, he's going to be a big problem for ONIC, especially on these neutral takes.
Yep, TNZ also got his first item locked in for Rosa too. Both mid laners fighting for it out. Second turtle though, Glorious Pathway already dropped down, still half health from the turtle. You're going to deal with Lunar. Again, a split fight happening here. Loopy able to get a couple resources out. Now Lunar trying to get away with that Revitalize. Still going to reset this turtle, so neither team getting the upper hand just yet, but it will be Kyrie to hold on to this turtle. It looks like TNZ is just going to have to give it up.
Yep, they don't have the health or the mana, and ONIC, that's what they want to do. Keep taxing them until they can't afford it anymore. Once they go for broke, that's when ONIC can start fully taking control over this game. For now, at least for Aurora's side, they're looking for the first and second item power spikes to really turn these fights over. So having this 2K lead on ONIC isn't the worst thing in the world. However, where's the big conversions, right? Every single lane is winning here.
Wow. Okay, and I guess they just got the call too, you know, so you come join us, give up that top lane, but they will be able to find Keyboy. So trading it out just to grab a kill, forfeiting the top tier 1 turret. Aurora Gaming is going to make that switch now, looking to put pressure on tier 1 mid.
And that's exactly what you want to do. These are the conversions that matter here, and Pagu instantly wants to cut off as many rotations as possible. Look at Luna right in front of Sans' face.
Yep, they're going to have to stop him down. Glorious Pathway to disengage, but Aurora Gaming got what they wanted. A kill, and now that turret falling in the mid lane. So this is going to be a battle. I feel like for game 4, what we're seeing, very different from the previous 3 games, is just this battle of attrition, finding these little moments around the map, finding ways to open it up, get that favorable matchup when you can, win this next objective, that turtle, and eventually the Lords come.
Whoa, hold up, hold up, hold up. This could be really, really dangerous. As ONIC forcing Lunar out of position, allowing Kelra to actually open things up. You can see the rest of the members are man-to-man defensing here. They understand what's about to happen, and I don't think they should take this right now.
All right, Conceal used. Little taunt there, Unbreakable. Gonna bring Pagu back. He goes in with a flicker, locking him down with the Raptor Dryad. Sam's gonna be okay though. Aurora Gaming on the back foot. They want to get away. Avatar of the Guardian will burn the flicker from Rosa. Still gonna be caught amidst it all. Against the wall they go. A burst of damage, but Siggy Boom is gone, and ONIC will win this fight. A double for Kyrie.
That's got to be upsetting here. Very, very upsetting. But even so, it's just not enough damage. The economic lead here for the side of ONIC being pressed against Aurora as they are starting to run out of breath. But initially, when you see this fight from the side of Aurora, maybe it could have been something more, and they wanted Sans really bad. They got the ult out. They also made sure that he doesn't have his flicker available. The problem is if they don't net themselves the kill, that's a lot of resources wasted on the side of Aurora.
That also, you know, when we saw it from the highlights there, it just looked like they weren't synced up the way they wanted to follow through on Pagu's setup. They were kind of in a weird position, and it might have been one of those cases where, again, Pagu's just like, you know, I'm already I'm already here and I'm already taunted up by the Unbreakable and everything else. I kind of have to do something, and you know, Aurora Gaming loses that fight. Now they lose themselves the space to work with. They're 5,000 gold behind, and ONIC has been in this driver's seat now for a few minutes. And the fact that you have the Sky Piercer that was picked up and we talked about minutes ago, Kyrie's now got a couple stacks on it, so that's great for him. And even looking at the build that Kelra has, he's going for the Rage Advantage, right? He already had that blade earlier on. That was his first item he rushed in. Then he got Malefic Gun, and Brody's already got great range advantage against a Harith. Well, now even more so.
Yeah, and I think that's the really scary part, right? Because ONIC, this is a really good timing to, you know, instigate fights, and Aurora recognized that. That's why you're seeing them clump up together a lot more, because they have to work with their secondary win condition, or main scaler in this particular case, in Sigibum.
Yeah.
Tianzi also understands that as much as he is the jungler, the neutral objectives are very manageable for the time being until we start getting into the Lords. So we need to see the tempo breaker here.
Right now, too, Lunar, even as tanky as he is, he can feel the damage being put out. This purple buff being fought for, though, unfortunately, Tianzi will not be able to secure it. Kyrie's been pretty unrelentless in this side of the jungle as he just continues to take camps, you know, from Aurora Gaming.
Interesting. I hope I saw that right. That was a Haas call purchase coming in from Kelra here. Wants to make sure that at least at the very bare minimum that he actually has some form of lifesteal. And not to mention that, you know, Brody naturally, the way that his auto attacks work, has so much more base damage than the regular marksman, all kind of put into one because he doesn't have as many consistent auto attacks compared to them. In this case, he's going to get a decent amount of heal, so in case they try to burst him, the window has just gotten smaller for the side of Aurora.
Okay, with Lord up, ONIC with a clear advantage. They should have space control above this. They'll keep Loopy up there on the top side doing his thing for now. They don't want to overstep this. One thing's for sure is you're up against a team like Aurora Gaming, you still got to respect what they can do, even if you have this kind of lead that ONIC has built up. But they can go ahead and play the map this way. You know, keep Loopy there, play around the rest of the 4 members of ONIC. And Aurora Gaming knows this. One thing too, having this dangerous grass in tow, you can make some surprise plays. We saw the attempt from Aurora, but now Lutfi being spotted out, and the rest of Aurora Gaming, they don't have much more room to work with. Conceal was already used. They're going to keep them pushed off the Lord.
And the pendulum swings again. Sigibum kind of the only person who has enough damage to deal with Lutfi. Rosa, as you can see, needs to put a little bit of work into Lutfi, start shredding the MR first, and then starts getting the empowered fork to lightning to ensure that he gets some permanent damage. But even then, Lutfi is in a phenomenal position. He's got plenty of magic resist. He's got plenty of health to work with. He's running Brave Smite as well. Oh, well, never mind. As soon as I say, Divine Glaive has already been purchased by Rosa.
All right, it's locked in. ONIC might be looking to make that attempt here. It's going to reset, though. Ice Queen Wand picked up, too. By Sans, being dragged back. Flicker forward, not connecting the Wrath of the Dryad. Will get punished anyway. Kelra able to pick up a kill, and with that, Aurora Gaming has to give this Lord over. Sans being dragged back. Flicker forward, not connecting the Wrath of the Dryad. Will get punished anyway. Kelra able to pick up a kill, and with that, Aurora Gaming has to catch one of them. Might be better than what we've seen the past couple of interactions right now. They get to deal with this Lord up top. They clear out what they can in the mid. Where's Pathway drop down? They're going for Kelra. He's going to get stunned. Avatar of the Guardian. Now Kelra's in trouble. Poggle will find him and just punch him in the face. Locking him down. Keyboy gone. Kyrie on the run. Loopy trying to get away too. What just happened to ONIC in this side of the jungle? They do shut down Tianzi. And now Sans looking for more. Burns the flicker from Rosa. Lord is still there. Sigibum's got to deal with it. But man, Aurora Gaming might have found a little bit of life and wiggle room in this game.
Yeah, honestly, that was pretty good coming in from Aurora. I'm pretty sure that Keyboy didn't have his taunt ready to go, and they recognize that Kelra still doesn't have his flicker for a couple more seconds, so they find the punish. Let's watch this one more time, because it felt like Kelra just kind of ate it. And Keyboy, out of position, uses the AOG to try and close the distance, but by then it's already too late. The damage has already been done. Not to mention that also, you know, passive coming in from Pagu, shredding away at the little bit of life that Kelra actually has, but now he's got the Berserker's Fury on top of the Haas Claws. He's got some real damage in his belt right now. And unless Sans can keep him protected, they want the traditional front to back.
If ONIC didn't have that Lord, that Aurora Gaming had to deal with. Aurora Gaming would have followed through in that fight. Seaboom knew he had to go back, clear it out. So, and they maintained the base turrets. Again, falling from this deficit, Aurora Gaming able to go ahead and find a moment. But I think that was just, you know, a little mistake from ONIC. Again, they still have a great lead. They still have Kyrie didn't go down, so he's, you know, his stacks that he's built up over this time has been okay. And as you mentioned, Kelra now has another item locked in here. Even Sans getting a little more defense locked in with that Bruce Force breastplate.
This is where things are going to be a little dicey all across the board here. And Keyboy already making sure he's able to slow down the auto attacks coming in from Seaboom. Chastise Pauldron, a pretty important purchase in case that he just needs a sliver of health to survive. A lot of brute force breastplates across the board as well.
You know, they again to kind of help with this physical damage throughput, especially with Tenzi, the way he's built up. I mean, he's even got a little mix of defensiveness there with the Queen's Wings locked in. But it's just been, I think, one thing that really stands out throughout these, you know, even the group stage now and the knockout stages, just the way the teams have executed these team fights is so crucial. Hirara obviously allows you to have a little more room to work with in comparison to a Paquito. So Tienzi really has to not get kind of faked out. I feel like that's what happens with a lot of times when the Hirara's across from you and you're dealing with it. You've just got so much to work with. And that's why, again, the responsibility of Pagu so crucial here on landing these Wrath of Dryads. Lootbeat going to be forced out of that brush alongside Keyboy. So it's a face-off for this Lord.
Just look at the way that they have to play, right? The only person who may be able to bait a reaction from ONIC is Seagubo because he's such a high-priority target. Now, ONIC, they don't have control over this, and Kyrie is ready to hop over the pit, but look at the mid lane. They get that first shove. They're going to reset this, and they're looking for an interception. Oh, are we going to get punished for getting knocked up by the Lord? Luckily, they don't.
Lootbeat, okay, he's still half health. They're going to bring back Lunar. Lunar dropping down the glorious pathway to cut off Lootbeat, but that's not the target you want to go for. To Aurora Gaming, and now couple ultimates expended here from Aurora Gaming. Lord will just reset as the space does.
At least they set the conditions. We used a lot of our ultimates, but we got a really good push down on that mid lane that ONIC has to respond to. Losing a free inhibitor turret is unacceptable at this stage of the game. And I think that at least for Aurora, they know they've hit the 43k mark. Their carries have the damage. Tianzi and Seagubo are ready to fight. The question is, can they get some value or discounts from Lunar or even Pagu?
They saw Tianzi up in the top lane. They wanted to blitz this Lord, but it resets anyway. So again, a good choice here to just kind of back off. Keyboy was there, gave them the information. Meanwhile, ONIC still looking to bait Aurora Gaming into a fight. Quarter the health on this Lord. Whoa, it's going to reset once again. Look at the positioning here from Keyboy.
Oh my God.
Consecration drop down. Pagu goes in with the flicker. Wrath the Dryad. Kelra's still going to be fine though. Torn apart memory. Pagu goes down. Tienzi can't find an opening. He's trapped. Even with an immortality, Kyrie gets a double. ONIC with the team fight victory here will get them the Lord.
What an incredible... My God.
Consecration drop down. Pagu goes in with the flicker. Wrath the Dryad. Kelra's still going to be fine though. Torn apart memory. Pagu goes down. Tienzi can't find an opening. He's drop down. Pagu goes in with the flicker. Wrath the Dryad. Kelra's still going to be fine though. Torn apart memory. Pagu goes. Just kind of back off. Keyboy was there, gave them the information. Meanwhile, ONIC still looking to bait Aurora Gaming into a fight. Quarter the health on this Lord. Whoa, it's going to reset once again. Look at the positioning here from Keyboy.
Oh my God.
Consecration drop down. Pagu goes in with the flicker. Wrath the Dryad. Kelra's still going to be fine though. Torn apart memory. Pagu goes down. Tienzi can't find an opening. He's trapped. Even with an immortality, Kyrie gets a double. ONIC with the team fight victory here will get them the Lord.
What an incredible read from Kelra. What an incredible read. He reacted perfectly to the scenario. Winner crown just in time because Pagu, he keeps on doing this. Keep your eyes here. He sees it instantly. Winner crown to dodge the entire thing, and he still has the corrosive strikes to make sure that he can finish everybody off. He's marked them, he's tagged them, he's outplayed them. Got in the gold lane for a reason.
Yeah, what a move there. Again, it's a KK connection, just a different one for this. And now knocking on the mid turret. They're going to go ahead. Force it down. Whoa, Keyboy taking a lot of damage here. He wants to get away. Does with the Avatar of the Guardian defensively with a sliver of health. He'll regen it back up. They still have the Lord making its way here. So ONIC can go ahead and walk this into at least a base turret, potentially knocking down 2. Aurora Gaming wanting to hold on.
Oh, some really scary stuff. Really, really scary stuff. And you can see that Aurora, unfortunately without the Glorious Pathway, it's a lot harder for them to go on the chase. For ONIC, they can naturally do it, right? They have many different ways of using iframes and immobilizing, trading with one another, you know, the push and pull from Keyboy alongside with Kyrie to maintain their presence. Keyboy, he wants it, but they're not going to give him that option just yet. Oh my God.
Rosa, look at the damage. Rosa's going to have to be careful here, half health. But again, I think Aurora Gaming is going to be happy with that defense. They keep up 2 base turrets. ONIC gets 1. They play the discipline route, and they'll back off for now. Again, they don't want to push it too far in. Even with, again, with this kind of lead, the composition, they can't get caught in a bad state here under these base turrets. So happy with 1. Still have plenty of time for that next Lord to come up here. But looking at the items again, you know, now that you've already seen the Winter Crowns come to play, the Immortalities, you're going to see some item swaps up to this point.
Dom Ice already complete as well, making sure there's some kind of anti-heal and anti-shield. Oh, wait. Interception angle potentially here.
He's going to get Unbreakable taunted. Should be able to get away. Good coverage there, though, by Aurora Gaming. Again, you can see they have to play together here. They're most likely going to get poked down, half health or so. Pagu finally gets into Immortality, though.
Oh, man, Kyrie. Man, Hirara is such a busted hero. So many cooldowns. It's like, it feels like she's got 6 abilities sometimes, but...
She's not Suyo.
Yeah, she's not Suyo. Even though she has more abilities than Suyo at level 2 compared to level 3, you know, no big deal here. I can't wait for 4 abilities at level 1. Eventually we're going to get there. But the scary thing about it is that Kyrie understands that he's allowed to actually take the first move. Because until we see the trigger being pulled by Lunar, they know that Aurora ain't really in it. Their hearts aren't in it to go for the all-out fight without that condition. And as long as Kyrie has iframes to play with, he can do this all day, all night.
Yeah, it almost feels like Aurora Gaming's it's still used. Glorious Pathway, they're going right for Kelra, okay. They get an Avatar of the Guardian out, plus the Flicker. Burnt from Kelra. 10 seconds for this Lord to come up. I would say that's value for Aurora.
That's a lot of value, actually. Wait, I want to see what ONIC is going to do after this, right? Because now that Kelra doesn't have his Flicker, Winter Crown is going to get purchased here. Let's see if they correct the waves, because unless they can correct the waves, bot side is on a slow push, mid is neutral, top side is getting corrected by Aurora. And I think that ONIC, despite having a 6.9k lead, I don't know if Kelra has enough money to go for an item swap after that.
Yeah, this might be one of those cases where, again, you just delay this as much as you can here. If they can. Okay.
Ludwig having to use his ult. And Kyrie still dancing around. Yeah, they're not going to do much about this. And I think that Aurora recognized that, you know what? As long as Kelra ain't showing himself and he doesn't have that Flicker, it's not that big of a deal. Take away our purple. We don't care about this. Look at that top side. It's already shoving in bot side as well. Hirara shows up and now Aurora takes the space.
Oh! Rosa goes in with a Flicker, but Sans able to react in time. That setup not going to follow through. Now Lunar, Unbreakable taunted. He's going to take a shot. Here, couple marks. They have to back off, though. This isn't the fight they wanted. Avatar of the Guardian not going to connect, but it's Pagu. Immortality pop. This should be a kill for ONIC. He goes in with the Flicker. Wrath the Dryad drops down. Kyrie gets a kill, but Sigibone fires back with a crown already used. They're in it for now. TNZ, Immortality. They're going to chase him down. He has nowhere to go as ONIC wins the team fight and will start up the Lord.
Great reaction time coming in from Sans. If he died there, I think that could have been it. It could have been the turnaround that Aurora were looking for. But that's what I'm telling you. That Glorious Pathway is the key to everything right now. A beautiful rotation from Kyrie alongside with Kelra to open up a different angle and forcing Pagu into a pretty awkward position. But you can tell that Sigibome, Keyboy, he's eating so many shots from Sigibome. It takes way too long.
Well, they're in the pace. They took out Rosa. Now Sigibome trying to get some revenge here. Kyrie has an Immortality. He's got enough work to room with. Oh, Sigibome! Nowhere to go. Double for Kelra. That is it. It's going to take us to a game of 5. And then got enough work to room.
from Zigaboom. It takes way too long.
Well, they're in the pace. They took out Rosa.
Ziggy.
Now Zigaboom trying to get some revenge here. Kyrie has an mortality. He's got enough work to room with. Oh, Zigaboom! Nowhere to go. Double for Kelra. That is it. It's going to take us to a game of 5 in this matchup with ONIC in Aurora Gaming.
Are you not entertained? We finally get a full series here in our playoffs. Great job as ONIC pulls it back to match point 2-2. These teams are so equally matched in so many different ways. The slightest advantages in the drafts is a make it or break it. And I think Rosa is probably thinking to herself, man, if only I didn't have to recall at level 1, this could have been different.
It's kind of like what happened to Sans in the last game and how things fell apart for ONIC in game 3, but they made the adjustments and they executed well. Again, yeah, you said it, Gideon. It's so well matched here between these two. I mean, both teams have really surprised us, especially I think everybody when Aurora Gaming came through, swinging through.
Millet Murga.
The demon in the fan seeks to keep me. Quite the greedy one. But I still have people to kill. People to love.
Mami. இன்னும் ஒரு மேட்ச் இருக்கு ஆனிக் மேட்ச்
to really shine in terms of what you really want to see from them. They've made things a lot more difficult for Aurora too, I'd say, because naturally, if you look at their heroes, you really want to go for either Kelra or maybe even Sans, probably the squishiest heroes, especially if you're Rosa on the Adore.
When open, my fans exude elegance. When closed. Are you sure you want to know?
Succession கரெக்டா YSS Lance Nolan Joy Irara
or the scattering petals.
First being an apparent reason drag one skill on the effect to catch a combo. Irara set to function the effect. Enzo Hayabusa.
I've returned from hell for her. I hope Hanabi-sama won't disappoint me.
So classic classic.
See that this area here is a very close area, making it so that it's very easy for Aurora to hit their abilities, but more importantly, not a lot of space for ONIC to escape. This is where we see they just go all in. The moment they got Kelra, there's not much that they can do. This is the rare time that we see ONIC clumped up, and that's why they lost. And then again, look at here. We see that all the focus is on Kelra again, because he is supposedly one of the easiest members of ONIC to catch. And yet, when we zoom out, we see that even though they engage Winter Crown into flickering out, and then eventually we even see the Gatakacha ulting on top of Kelra just to provide him that heal. So this is what ONIC did. They understand habits. Aurora has a habit where either Pagu or Sigibum or even Lunar, depending on the draft, one of them will start the fight. In this one, it's pretty obvious it's going to be Pagu on that Belric. So as long as you're able to spread out, you bait out the ult, they can re-engage. That's also another thing that we got to talk about the draft. Having the Zushin, the Uranus, as well as the Herrera, one of the best things about them is that they can get out of a fight and they quickly go back in.
Go ahead. I mean, what were we going to respond to that with?
No, I think, I mean, if you look at it, at first it looks great. At least Aurora are always based on that. If you observe, on the same page. They know who they really want to prioritize and target, and they don't have as much disconnect as I think we've observed from a lot of teams here at MSC. But there should be like backup plans, and there should be other angles that they play around with. If that Pagu flickered Wrath of Dryad combo has been read out multiple times already.
But the problem is, I feel like they understood they got to get Kelra. But again, this is why Kelra is the gold standard. This is why his name was also mentioned as one of the best that the game has ever produced. Like, by all accounts of logic, he should have died many times. Right? That's how you become champions, right? You got to define the logic. You got to define the expectation. Just because my character dictates I can't do it, if I'm using this character, I'll find a way.
That's how you become bigger than the draft and bigger than the character, the hero, the game itself. You become somebody that obviously deserves these superstar fans as well. But speaking of superstars, we've got the junglers going head-to-head. It is an amazing day to witness some matchups that you cannot get anywhere else. TNZ and Kyrie, we talked about them. TNZ phenomenal on Aurora Gaming. Kyrie having a great response, however, and actually winning, not only in turtle kills, but lord kills, damage dealt, and of course 8-0-4 in this last matchup. And the Harara against the Paquito, it makes me wonder, LaFell, if it's not just a Paquito, it is really looking at, well, maybe we need that Paquito in gold, maybe EXP.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you in gold because this is the last chance.
Yeah.
Someone's going to go home.
Yeah.
Right? Both these teams are showing grand finals performance.
They are.
So I feel like for Aurora, win or lose, you got to get Sigibum on that Paquito if possible, because TNZ is a great jungler, but we can definitely see Sigibum on that Paquito is something else.
Yeah, it's a really good comfort pick that I feel like wouldn't make Kelra as comfortable, supposedly.
I agree.
Because earlier into the Harith, I feel like Keller is just so aware of that matchup already. Yeah, he already knows how to play around the Harith, and he also himself masters the Harith well enough, but Sigibum on a Paquito is a different beast.
And Freya.
On Freya, and that too. So the fighter matchups, having Aurora get that, and maybe seeing Tianzi on a different, maybe not the Lucas, if it's not really something that they
just assassin, not a fighter.
Just an assassin.
Could be interesting.
That's maybe them playing to their strengths.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see. Draft coming up in just a moment. Until then, we want to send it over to an announcement about Street Fighter. They're actually playing Street Fighter at EWC right now on the Alliance stage. However, in-game with MLBB, you have a chance to play Ryu, Ken, and a cool Street Fighter matchup in your games.
Round one.
Thinks he can come in here and play my game. He knows nothing. Let's go!
Tyler won. You're done.
Here's the thing, I feel like for both teams, in terms of the draft, they gotta stick to their guns.
Yep.
Kelra has to stick with the marksman, Sigibum has to stick with the fighter, and then this small adjustment might be too, how do I say, too risky, which is what Aurora has been doing is trying to target Kelra.
Yeah.
But time and time again, Kelra has been outplaying them.
Yep.
So either double down and make sure Kelra will never escape an attempt, or avoid him altogether. Shut down Kyrie, shut down Sans, and hopefully that's enough.
Shut down someone else if it's not working against Kelra anymore. But yeah, I agree that maybe and hopefully we get to see them just stick with the heroes that have been working out best for them. But I'm also worrying because at the same time, I think it's going to be Aurora in blue this time.
Yeah.
Not unless they decide to go red. Because
most likely.
earlier it was ONIC on blue, but every single time they went for Blue, it's not like they go pick up the Paquito first.
Right.
They don't really go prioritize that hero despite it being open in first pick. There are a lot of other options which could be left open still. The Hirara's still there. The Freya potentially even might be still there, but that's also something that could work out for them, honestly. So
yeah,
I think the sides are really going to be important. Aurora does go to Blue and the Paquito is still open, so that's a question mark for all of us right now. But the trend says, okay, never mind, let's just take out all Sigiboom's hero, you know?
And that's smart. I mean, we knew that was going to be something Aurora valued. And now it does do two things. We could see, and we're not even going to go into it. It's Aurora first pick from Aurora. So ONIC have a chance to respond. Belleric available. Barat's still available.
Yeah.
Zushin not available here, banned out. So that won't be a factor, which has been played 2 games in a row by ONIC.
Yeah. I think they're going to opt for those power picks still. Safe picks and, as you've mentioned. But the Belleric Plus is supposedly the way to go, at least.
That's a good pick.
Oh!
And the Fanny.
Take the Barats as well as the Fanny. Barats is one of the counters towards the Fanny. Now, I want to see whether Aurora, in terms of gold lane, Melissa and Moskov can deal with the Fanny, but if you want to go fighters, maybe the Ruby.
The Ruby's the next one.
Probably Ruby, but the thing is, Ruby has been changed so that she is only really strong when her HP is low enough so that she has a lot of heals. But if you burst her down so that she can't heal fast enough, that's kind of GG's.
Could be risky there. Does that feel like the right trade?
That will mean putting Sigiboom on a marksman though, so they just don't reveal their gold laner altogether. They go for the Cho and this time the Uranus. I think at least the matchup will be kinda guaranteed for Aurora in the EXP lane.
Not gonna lie, I'm liking ONIC's opener a little bit more here.
Yes.
Because even though Cho, on paper, in theory, can catch the Fanny, we've seen the reaction times of the players of ONIC.
Yep.
I feel like it's going to be difficult. I really feel like it's going to be difficult to catch this Fanny. So he might have to target someone else.
And that someone else could be either Pelra or Sans, but I don't think you could even count on them to be the best targets. If Sans gets his hands on a high mobility mid laner, which I think a couple are still out there, we still have the Valentina, I was supposed to mention it, yep, does get picked up. So it won't make things any easier now for whoever you want to target as Pagu on the Cho.
This might sound crazy. If anytime Aurora brings a fighter mid, this might be the game. Bring either Ruby mid, or they bring out the Rafa or Matilda this time, because Matilda does have the damage to deal with the Fanny and able to lock down as well. So Aurora, if there's any time to bring out a surprise, this is definitely one of them, because the heroes that they have right now doesn't necessarily answer the questions that ONIC is showing. The fact that they have the Valentina can steal away the way of the dragon from the Cho, make it so that they can kick this Uranus, they can kick the Hirara, maybe even whatever hero Sigiboom opts for later on will get caught as well. So,
I mean,
ONIC has a good opener here.
I know that this hasn't necessarily been the hot pick, even though they kind of started off with this tournament as bringing it into the meta with Eudora. I feel like a kick into a stun is pretty guaranteed if you're trying to isolate this fight. We saw the Fanny with Arrow 404 earlier series, Team Vamos. He was fantastic, but they still lost that game because they basically made the fight about everything but the Fanny until the Fanny showed up. And so if you can isolate someone very important with that show, capitalize on it. We know Aurora likes that. Maybe there's an answer there, and they just deal with the Fanny whenever she shows up.
That can be, that can be. Hopefully just a bit not too much of a reaction just towards the Fanny pick if they really go lock down the Eudora and the Cho combo together. Because if you do decide to go for that route, that might be the safest, yes, because the fighters in the middle lane option that we talked about previously is something you really have to consider, because if your ultimate is a big ultimate, then I think ONIC would just equally benefit from that too, because they have their hands on the Valentina. So if we, let's say, consider the Ruby in mid, then I think ONIC would be just as happy with that to layer it together with the Barats and whoever Kiboy would eventually pick up here in the draft. So Aurora have to be very particular with this.
The other thought is, how much pressure are we putting on Barretts? We know that when Lunar can win that EXP lane, it helps them win very early. It's possible that we see a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, but I feel like Barat should win against the Arenas. Like, even if you don't win, you're able to get out of lane faster. And I feel like that's going to be the determined thing. ONIC, they pick up a Harif. Technically not a marksman, but a traditional gold laner here. And now they answer with a Claude as well as the Eudora.
Yeah.
This looks like the most standard draft Aurora has shown in quite a while here. So I think this one, they realize it's not about the draft anymore.
No.
Like, there's only so much the coaching staff can do. Now it's 100% on the players.
Gotta make sure the execution goes smooth for Aurora this time. Going for a very standard draft, but for Keyboy in Rome.
Gato was good. I like the counter.
Yeah, Gato can be.
Minotaur's banned. Atlas banned. Belleric still available, right? That could also be an option.
Honestly, yeah, Belleric can still be an option because for now, I feel like for ONIC, almost any pick in the roam can really help them out here. Yeah. And there you go. They pick up the Belleric. Also kind of good going up against the Claude, Uranus, Cho. So
who do they want to pick up? Who does this Cho work against on the side of ONIC? Who's the priority?
No one.
No one. So that's
if you can catch Fanny, great, but
wow,
I don't know about that.
At best, probably just disrupt. Because ONIC will just go all in the team fights.
Who are you leaning towards, guys? Final game.
I'm leaning towards ONIC.
I have to go for ONIC.
ONIC. Wow. Indonesian champions in 2023 trying to go back and win in the semifinal. Aurora trying to prove that they deserve to be on the main stage. It's one game away that decides it. A best of 5 turned into a best of 1. Aurora Gaming versus ONIC Turkey versus Indonesia. Let's send it back over to our casters, Gideon and Naisu, for Game 5 at MSC.
Two teams walked into this arena at the Esports World Cup thinking that they could make some life-changing money. Now they put it all on the line as both teams have pushed it to match point. A single mistake, a single good play could be the difference between a lot of cash here. But now let's jump right into this game as the Land of Dawn has already blessed us with a beautiful series.
And even this draft, Gideon, for Game 5 brings us, I feel like, back to the fundamentals, you know, for the most part. Even if you look at Aurora Gaming lineup, our panel talked about it, there's no more things surprising yourself in the draft. It's pretty standard. There's only so much that the coaching staff can do. It comes down to that execution. ONIC on the same foot, pick up some of their best heroes across the lanes here. Again, to see potentially Kyrie on this Fanny and Kaura having the Harith here, there's something that can be said for the movements, the way they move around the map alone can set things in pace.
Let's set the stage here because so far Aurora, you can tell that top side is definitely going to be their strong side. Lunar playing a much better game this time around, not having to deal with the Esmeralda, but against the Barats, it's going to be a lot easier to kind of outmaneuver and control this lane better, especially since it's a no-go lane. Nobody's going to die here. There's nothing to worry about. But on the bottom side is where it gets interesting. And I was wondering in the draft whether or not, you know, this Cho was going to be the difference maker. Yeah. Both sides had to take Purify in this case, so it's a general neutral lane. But knowing Sigibum, he's played this matchup against the Harith many, many times before in the previous year.
We can see this pressure already on these green camps of Kyrie. Pago takes some shots here. Quarter of the health, he's going to have to get on out of there. This is one of the difficult things for Pago to deal with. You know, when asked the question, who's the best target for those kicks? Who's the best person to go for? And it's honestly, it's Kyrie, but as mobile as a Fanny is, that's a tough task to take here. First turtle up for grabs. ONIC's going to start it up. Lunar kind of gives that information, but Tienzi's not anywhere near it. So first objective, turtle, going on it.
They're just uninterested. There's just no reason to fight for it as of right now. Not until they have that kick to start developing a dedicated lead. And ONIC recognized this, right? Sans immediately takes away the dragon on their side in case they could find a moment to snowball this even further. The mid duos have been doing really, really well and have adapted a lot throughout the matches. Now they're going to go down towards their insurance policy. Carol getting a really good freeze here onto Sigibum. And this is where it starts to get dangerous, right? If Sigibum unfortunately uses his BMI too early, there's a chance he gets run down by Kelra with the Zaman Force.
It's almost to me on the other side. Loop using the flicker. Daytona's welcome into the wall. There's the follow through. Nice kick from Sans into the turret. First blood for Kyrie. They find 2. Now they're looking for a 3rd. Luna trying to get away here. He's got a sliver of health. Jump back in. There's the counter punch. Taking out Kyrie and Pagu with the G Kundo. Will be able to get away. No follow through damage. It's a trade. The 2 for 2.
God, that was hot. Pagu, what a, wow. Let's look at this one more time because again, the play coming in from Sans was good, right? He flickers on over to guarantee the kick to the right side, but that third hit of G Kundo, breaking it up at just the right time, allowing Luna to survive this, and also using his Purify. He probably should have used it slightly earlier, but it doesn't matter. He got the damage off of his shield, and even for ONIC's side, they don't mind this trade at the end of the day. So what if Lunar gets it? We'll eventually be able to deal with it later down the line. So for now, those who found the kills have the money to go even further. TNZ and as well as Kyrie dead even right now, but only a slight lead, 1 level lead for TNZ.
I wonder how many times Sans will try to replicate that, you know, take the kick, take that way the dragon from Pagu, utilize the kick himself, or does he take something else? You know, between Rose's ultimate, that Thundering Wrath can be beneficial too. So Sans will have his work cut out from him, but like we just saw, pretty good here. Skypiercer now picked up for TNZ, the second turtle coming through.
All right, TNZ has to play for cleanup here. They can initiate, walk back, wait for a little bit, and then clean up later. Kyrie, he's got the Heptaseas already ready to go, and he wants to make sure that when he gets on top of a target, that target dies straight away. So now you can see that at least from between ONIC and as well as Aurora, they're constantly trading. They're constantly trading the HP.
Okay, again, way the dragon held on by Sans. There's the Daytona's welcome. You know, right on the mark. Kyrie coming through. Consecration already going to be used. Quarter of the health on the turtle. TNZ will secure it. Fight breaks out. Blazing duet, not enough. Keyboy will fall, and then another trade. Kelra has some space to work with. A whole lot of battle spells used up as well. And TNZ will get away with the iframes here on that Hirara.
He's dancing around here. Kelra playing a dangerous game. And you can tell by that positioning, unfortunately, the Zaman Force might not be enough there. ONIC now trying to set something up. They want to see Sigabum, but they don't notice him just yet. He's hiding in the bush, and the denial of information has caused ONIC to give up on the dive.
Okay, they're going to get forced out of there. They wanted to make a play, but luckily Sigabum has that protection. Pagu, there's the kick right on cue. Purify's still available. Now it's pop. Kyrie joining the fight, swinging on through, gets stunned, Thundering Wrath down. Pagu trying to get away, burns the flicker. He will survive. Neither team falling in the exchange bottom.
And you can tell how antsy both sides are. Sigmund luckily doesn't get his recall canceled, but that will mean that bottom tier 1 is under threat. They are willing to trade topside, but at least from Kyrie's POV, easily is able to dodge out of the right ability. Sans, does he get the turret? Oh, it's almost. One auto attack. It's as good as gone.
Yeah. Take a little bit longer to take that one down, but pretty much ONIC just trying to find what they can across the map here. It's really neck and neck in Game 5 so far, Gideon. Again, this is exactly how you want this series to pan out here. Neither team really pulling the switch just yet. Pedal to the metal, but right now it's going to be a tier 1 that falls on our side. Whoa, already some pressure there. Rosa burning the flicker to survive. Actually, Sans burning his flicker, and now trying to secure that purple buff. They do just that. Pagu forcing himself out of sight of the jungle. So this is just a battle for buffs and just tier 1s.
And you know that Hirara generally has a bit of an advantage in these moments, especially with slight leads on their sides. Best part yet, the iframes making it even harder, especially since you can control the timing of when you decide to drop down that falling maple. In the meantime, though, as we can see Aurora alongside with ONIC contesting for the space at this point. The main contestant is having control over this mid lane. If we see TNZ make a mistake here, luckily he doesn't walk into the lane, goes for the Lethal Wanderer instead and lets Sigabum actually absorb this wave. ONIC miss out that opportunity.
Okay, waiting patiently here too. Last turtle of the game. 1 for 1 across both sides for this objective. ONIC will play it a little bit slow. Keyboy waiting, he's got a flicker available. Conceal going to be used. He's going to force the fight for this third turtle anyway. They get stunned in their tracks. Kyrie jumping through, takes the turtle away. Daytona's welcome. Into the wall he goes, and Rosa's gone. Now Pagu, nowhere to run either as he's collapsed down by ONIC. They got the objective and the kills.
That was a hot play coming in from ONIC. It felt calculated beginning to end. The timing of Keyboy utilizing his Wrath of the Dryad, not to mention just an amazing flicker Detna's welcome right onto Rose's face. Nothing they could do at that point. They reached, they grabbed, and they caught the ball out of the air from Aurora. Let's look at this replay one more time, because as Kyrie makes this play, oh, it catches afterwards, but it catches just enough. With Rosa already down and Tianzi having no combo points to actually go into his iframes, literally nothing you could do there.
That's the thing too, the fact that it's broken walls and you have this Fanny, you can utilize a little extra opening on these turtle pits or eventually the Lord pits, something that you can do here. So Kyrie can kind of just swing on through into those fights, following through the Wrath of Dryad. They're going to do it again onto the tier 2, already forcing the fight, and Sigibum is gone! Where did he go? And Lunar to follow. A double for Kyrie. And now Tianzi waiting for the rest. Wrath of Dryad plus the taunt, loads him up! Triple kill for Kyrie! Making a possible maniac on the Fanny!
A statement being made by ONIC right now as they're looking to crack open. Bottom side tier 2, and they've evened out this score. 3.2k lead in their hands. Things are getting extremely dangerous for Aurora. Sigibum, he's got to be careful here. That BMI is literally his only lifeline. Just watch. As soon as the BMI drops, you see that Kelra said, hell no, we dive in this. We're sending the goon squad to take him out.
And they line this up so well for the whole team, but for Kyrie just to make those plays again on this Fanny. How do you keep track of him? I mean, we've asked the question all darn MSC. How do you keep track of Aurora? Well, when you put the Fanny in the hands of someone like Kyrie or any of these specialists, this is what you have to deal with too. It feels like its own iframes.
It's tough. It's really tough. Kyrie has been playing a really strong game here. Those cables have been ultra accurate at dodging some key abilities from the side of Aurora. Even Lunar, I think he can't be that frontline that they're hoping that he can be right now. He hasn't won his lane hard enough. And with the 8 extra assists, well, technically 5 extra assists that Lutfi has been able to gain for himself and to chastise Waldron, he is so thick. Luckily, Lunar is able to get one of his own.
This Lord is being started up here, holding it at half health. ONIC with a clear lead. They have control of this. They might be able to just go ahead and secure this. It looks like they are going to do just that as Tianzi is up top. They have the information, and ONIC will play around now with this first Lord secured.
Mitrio has been playing a phenomenal game here for the side of ONIC. And unfortunately, for the side of Aurora, they've missed their window to develop their snowball even further. With the Maniac being given over to ONIC's side, resetting them from all that early game pressure that they were applying. Now they have to hope that Sigibum gets the right items at the right time here, because Tianzi can only do so much. He's so close to finishing the Golden Staff.
So close here. Lord slowly approaching that bottom side. Again, with this kind of lead, Sigibum just needs more time. He just doesn't have enough firepower here. And if they take out Rosa, so much damage of this profile for Aurora Gaming is expended. And they slowly walk this one in. This Lord coming down to this bottom side. Keyboy popping the conceal, looking for a potential flicker play. Lord's going to go ahead and charge into the base turret. They already pop off some damage, trying to keep them at bay, and Lunar has to disengage. They just want to clear out this Lord. They want to hold on to these base turrets. Kelra jumping in with his Almond Force, pushing him off the turret just to secure it. But now ONIC will go ahead and call it off. They look for more space turrets. Up top, Kyrie. Tianzi holding it in bay. They hold on to 2 base turrets for now.
ONIC right now just aren't falling for any of the typical tricks. They're going to lose another shielding here. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. ONIC have set this up for a final push with the next Lord. If they can... wait, do they have the ults? They do!
Charge in. Loopy jumping in, and they still the Wrath of Dryad. They're going to force the fight anyway. Loopy gone, and Sigibum too. Kyrie's still going. They're cut off from each other. Pagu trying to get away. Kelra, a couple shots, still has the shield. They're so low though. Aurora Gaming might want to punish. They're still following through. Tianzi has mobility, but they will rely on the conceal to get away.
And Sans, he's ready to intercept every single time. ONIC, they are well connected right now. And Aurora, they've tried a couple of feints here. Yep. They've tried a couple of motions where Pagu is trying to bait a reaction out of ONIC, but they're just not flinching anymore. And I think that confidence is starting to build up. It's surmounting to some real damage in Kelra. He's not dropping the ball. Same goes for Sans.
Look at the disparity of damage dealt by the key members here of Aurora Gaming. Tianzi there at the bottom, Sigibum there at the bottom, and look at the difference for ONIC. such a big difference in terms of damage, and that's just because of how these team fights have played out. ONIC has all the room to work with, especially for counter-up provided by this team that Sigaboom has just been trying to catch up. And we know this, Gideon, when you are delayed this much on that power spike for the Claude, it's really tough to get back into the zone in this one.
It is hard, but at the same time, they've got some decent wave clear on their end between TNZ, Sigaboom, and as well as Rosa. They should be the ones who are proactively trying to work together to clean these lanes, while Pagu and Lunar needs to delay lanes. On the opposite end, ONIC very happy to be in this position, you know? They still have access to those steel cables, and Kyrie can do whatever he wants. Go to top side, set up the wave, reset the Lord again. They can do this all day, all night.
They got to clear out that bottom wave here. They do just that. Half health on this Lord. ONIC has control. Looking to see if they can bait something from Aurora Gaming. Doesn't happen. So objective secured. We'll have to see Aurora Gaming's lineup if they can defend once again. Already losing a 1 base turn on the last push. They maintain 2. Are they in a position to withstand another push in?
Aurora decided not to. So now that they decided to, you know what? We're going to let the Golor come in. There's a pretty good chance that they lose all their inhibitor turrets. And that's a dangerous decision to make, because all of this is so that they can get to the 42K mark where they have an option to maybe try and get a good team fight down to turn the tides. But I don't know how they're going to get neutral objectives. And until we see a full wipeout on ONIC's end, I don't think Aurora necessarily can push through just yet.
Keyboy walking in on that bottom side here. Lord already in the base. Still has a flicker available. The Lord's actually going to go down very quickly from Aurora Gaming, so they maintain it. They still have some waves pushing in. ONIC might look to take down 1 base turret, this mid lane, as Kelra jumps forward. Already, Rocket's going to force the flicker route now. They're trapped under the turret anyway. Rosa's gone again, and Pagu trying to buy the time off the kick. Kyrie might chase him down. The rest of the team's going to force the fight in the base. Kyrie joining them now. Sigaboom with the blazing duet to clear out the lanes. They just want to stay in the game, but Kyrie keeps them together, and now they'll disengage. They still have this wave, but ONIC's too low.
Oh my goodness, the item swap right at the very end there. Sigaboom, holy cow. Holy cow. That was a dangerous moment. If it wasn't for that Rose goal, he would have died to the cutthroat coming in for Kyrie. They are out to get him.
Yeah.
The checkbox is simple. Wait for the stun to come out of Rosa. Once TNZ is down to only 1 combo point, then it becomes very easy to get on top of Sigaboom, especially since so many times he walks up to try and dish out damage to specifically Lutpian as well as Keyboy. I think that's where you see a lot of the vision starts to narrow down. He's got to open the mind back up here. He's got to look for different angles. His main concern really is going to be Kelra and Kyrie. Once those go down, there's a good opportunity that Aurora can win the fight afterwards. Win a crown purchase from Kelra to make a play of his own here, but I'm trying to figure it out. Can Rosa actually find a good opportunity to stun someone? Because Kyrie never shows.
That's such a tall task here for Aurora Gaming. Playing on the back foot the past 10+ minutes, or essentially this whole game. They're looking for a way to potentially turn this over in their favor, but there's just so much they have to do. They're going to go in and scout out. I think the main point of contention is, do they actually try to contest this Lord when it comes up? You know, it's not going to be evolved just yet unless for some reason ONIC delays it enough to go ahead and go through that, and I fear that if it is an evolved Lord, it's going to be tough. But look at this pressure already up top. Immortality swapped in by TNC. Wrath of Dryad used as well.
Wait.
So an attempt here, but now ONIC, what do they want to do?
Look at the coverage. Look at the coverage for Lutpi as well as Sans. Beautiful push and pull here. TNZ able to bait out the Wrath of the Dryads, and honestly, ONIC, they don't mind. They're like, okay, sure, no Wrath of the Dryads. We want you to come to us, actually. We want you to come just when Wrath of the Dryads is about roughly 8 seconds, maybe even 12 seconds, and then we're going to dance. We're going to keep on dancing, because unfortunately for you, super minions are always going to be knocking on your door, and we like to keep the porch clean.
And they got a fan. You know, they can play the long lane if he wants to, right? Kyrie can go ahead, put pressure there if he needs to, but he's going to wait for this purple buff to be up. They know this Lord is up. They can delay it a little bit further if they want to. Aurora Gaming looks to go ahead and try to get in position here. I'm not sure if this is exactly what they want to do, but it just might be one last-ditch effort if they can. TNZ swinging around. ONIC does it. Oh, the flicker forward. TNZ making his way to this fight. Can he turn it around? Pocket with the kick. It's on Kyrie. Immortality are going to be popped. Kyrie's going to get out there. TNZ also trying to buy space, but Pagu falls, and now it's all falling apart. Winner crown with the blazing do it from Singing Bomb, but it's not enough. Kalra gets a double. Aurora, they still have TNZ up, but Lunar on the disengage. This fight might just be over. Kyrie joining the fight, cabling on through. He has what he needs. He's going for TNZ. He's got the immortality till he doesn't. And now ONIC will clean it up. And Lunar can't do anything. ONIC will move on forward with the hope of Indonesia as they douse out the lights of Aurora Gaming.
One hell of a game, and ONIC, no disappointed smiles. Everybody knew that this was going to be one hell of a game, and they find it and they break through. A crushing defeat for Aurora. God, that's the nature of competition. What a sweaty game.
What a series. 5 games for this one. Again, we wouldn't have it any other way, and man, was it a battle. And big respects here to Aurora Gaming on the innovation they brought throughout the group stages, up down here to the knockouts. And unfortunately, as the nature of competition, someone has to go home.
They push the meta forward. Was it truly their destiny to make it to the end? ONIC take that spot. Just another light snuffed out. The Sky Kings are getting back into position for a potential grand finals here. Oh my lord. Every moment of this game felt calculated. Every moment down to the beat. Aurora looking for many different opportunities, but once they couldn't get the reactions that they wanted from ONIC, it started to become just hard, just really heartbreaking.
Oh man, again, seeing these highlights here from STC, you saw how much of a dominant early game to mid game that they had, especially with Kyrie on this Fanny. There was only so much that they could do. I mean, Pagu, he even got a couple kicks on him, but the rest of the team was just scaling in their favor, and they knew how to play this composition to, you know, the best ability that we saw here. Even Keyboy on a lot of the Wrath of the Dryad flicker combinations he had, and even Sounds having his own kicks half the time. You know, there was just so much that was utilized here, and even down to this last fight, they just knew with Kyrie swinging on in, there wasn't much more that Aurora Gaming could do in this instance.
With two great teams with amazing chemistry, it really just comes down to who has more experience, and ONIC take it this time. We're gonna be throwing it over to our winners up on stage, which Milos and of course, Keyboy.
They've done it again, ONIC to the semifinals! What a matchup. We all need a moment to breathe after how close that match was. Keyboy, few questions for you before your key crushing moment. Now, this is not the first time, of course, you play Aurora here at MSC 26. You lost in the group stage, you won here in knockout. Why? What was the difference between those two games?
I think in the group stage we're not ready too much because they are so aggressive and the hero is good. But now we already know how they play and we got it.
Well, you got it, but there was a lot of frustration. There was a lot of effort to win that game.
In this rotten world, The one flower that must never wither.
Okay. Your stream info goes on also important. The stream info. Okay. End pa.